on DZ Debates. We're about to hit go on your channel, and then we're going to hit go on the Vertical channel. And last but not least, we'll go live on TikTok. I do wish TikTok had a better method for having multiple people on the screen. A lot of the channels are doing one on top, one on bottom, and that's okay, but then it kind of covers the comments. I might switch it up though, rather than side by side. Sometime do a top and bottom. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be good. Now I'm getting the audio from 5 seconds ago coming through. I'm trying to see where that is. Mm,
Oh yeah, the only audio
yeah,
you need to have on is from Video Ninja from me.
right.
Hmm.
Let's try that.
Friends, while he's working on that, thank you for being here today. You guys know I don't usually stream on Tuesdays, but we're doing a special stream today. So what we got going on today is we're gonna be doing some debates. That seems pretty obvious, but we're also going to be raising money for our friend Spencer. There's a lot of people in the community that already know Spencer. He goes by Radio Spencer, and Spencer is in, let's say, financial bind. John knows a lot of details. He unfortunately spent a lot of money trying to help his father as he was battling cancer. Unfortunately, lost the battle, but now has all the bills to manage. Is there anything
Yeah,
else maybe we should?
and that's the long and short of it. So heartbreaking for Spencer to lose his father and then end up with really difficult levels of debt from having to travel to be there for his father, who was really ill for a while at the end of his life. And it's agonizing to lose a parent, but to lose a parent and then face financial hardship as well. And for anyone who doesn't know Spencer, he's an incredible creator. He's a fantastic member of this community. He's just brilliant. I've been enjoying his stuff since I first got on TikTok, and we've been friends for a while. And so this is a no-brainer. Let's come together and see if we can help Spencer out. He really deserves a bit of a lift here.
Yeah, Spencer's helped a lot of people out in the deconstruction space. Am I correct in remembering that he used to have a background in actual radio, which is why his voice
Yeah.
sounds so awesome?
I can never forgive him for having such a good voice, because whenever I hear mine after his, I just sound terrible, as do most people. Yeah, he's got that proper like radio announcer voice, like honey and amazing. And yeah, he had a career in that area,
Yeah.
and it shows.
He's got a great voice. So, friends, what we're going to be doing today, and if you give me 1 second, I'm going to get it set up. What we're going to be doing is there's a link in the description of the video and a link that is in the comments as well of the videos, where you can find the GoFundMe to help our friend Spencer. We have a preliminary goal of $4,000 based on previous fundraisers, how much we usually are able to raise. So this is usually a very manageable goal, and it would definitely help Spencer out a lot. This would certainly help the situation. I remember when I lost my father. A lot of people think that when you lose a parent, like you're going to like inherit money. Nope, that's not how that works all the time. We had to pay money.
Yeah.
And especially if you've got medical bills that are going to be on top of it, it becomes the whole thing. It really does. So anyways, we want to help Spencer as much as we can. So the link is going to be available in the comments and in the description. In fact, give me 1 second. I gotta log in to something before I forget, and then we should be ready to go. I'm going to be tracking the progress throughout the live stream so you guys can see where we're at on the fundraising. Wait, is my password wrong? Hold on. I guess I don't. Fuck, I don't know my own login to something. Oh boy, this is a story of my life, not remembering my passwords. It's really the worst thing. Uh, I've had the same passwords for quite some time, and when they don't work, I'm like, well, then I don't fucking know what my what my password is then. Nevertheless,
Password managers are the way.
Friends, if you're watching on TikTok and you want to join the discussion, you can hit the guest request button and we'll pull you up just like normal. If you are not watching on TikTok, if you're watching on anything other than TikTok, there is a link on the screen and you can use that link to join the conversation. They're not going to take your email address or your account information or anything like that. All you have to do is use the link and we'll put you into the queue and we'll be able to get you into the discussion. And that's how we're going to do that. Before we get our first guest, also, if you super chat John or I, we're streaming to 2 different channels. We're streaming to John's channel and my channel. If you super chat either of us, we'll be able to display it on screen. So we got the system worked out so that wherever the super chats are going, we'll be able to put them on screen and make sure your supers get read, my friends. But let's get our couple super chats, and then we're going to get our first guest. Bethos, thank you for the super chat. Not only stream John plus Sean too much today, we have streaming 2 times. When do I my laundry? I think when do I do my laundry? And now John plus Justin. God forbid this combo too powerful. This is a fun combo, isn't it?
It's fun.
It's a good one. And Pete, by the way, Pete, if you're watching, you sent your super chat in like the minute I scheduled the live stream. So I didn't have time to get it into my chat aggregation software yet, but I see the super chat. I'll read it. From Texas Panhandler, it says, great to see you and JC, that's John Cohen. Not that one. Teaming up again. Your vibes match really well. Let's cook and help a community member. Obligatory T-10 days. I've got Georgia on my mind. That's exciting. And speaking of Texas Panhandler, Base Shara. Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. 10 days until I see a very handsome silver fox. And a silver fox he is. Rock hard for Justin. Simply wet for Sharon. And gay for John Cohen. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking A. Speaking of Texas Panhandler, it says, look at that matching color scheme. Very pro. We were just saying that. It was unplanned.
It was. We even dressed the same. It was complete accident.
If we were still in the church, people would say that it was a God thing. Gordon loves science. Thank you for sending out 10 DZ debate gifted memberships. I super appreciate it. All right, we're definitely going to have a bunch of super chats rolling in. Also, before we get going, I have one more thing. I have a collection of some of the audience's most favorite coffee mugs from my live stream. I'm going to be auctioning these off and sending the money to Spencer. And I'll be signing the bottom of each one before I send them off. And I'll ship them with my dime. So whoever gets the mug, I will pay for the shipping and the packaging. I'll take care of all that. You just have to bid on the mugs. So I've got some of the classics. Gonna fucking snap is in here. I've got the dumpster fire, of course, in here. I've got fuck the patriarchy in here. I got some good ones. This is one of my favorites. I wish you were fluent in shutting the fuck up. That's a good classic. And of course, this one, Prescription for Happiness, issued by Dr. Feline Better. It's cat joke. And I got 2 more. I've got the Pussy Magnet mug in here, obviously, and one of the classics, the Kenny mug. We've got the Kenny mug from Valentine's streams. So we've got some goodies in here for the audience, and we'll work on this later in the stream. We don't have to do it right now.
Yeah, I'll chuck something in for an auction as well if anyone's interested. I would be very happy to personalize and sign a first edition copy of Unconvinced when it comes out in November and ship it to anywhere in the world with a personal message for anyone who wants that too.
Fucking hey, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Well, let's not delay it. Let's get on with it, and we'll have a blast. I think we've got 2 guests already waiting. The first one seems to be named Jordan, and then after that, I think it's going to be Brandon. So, welcome in, Jordan the Incorrigible. Are you at least 18?
Yes, I am.
Sure. And do you have a favorite topic on the screen above?
Not really. I was hoping we could very quickly discuss free will.
What's your position?
Well, I have an argument against free will in Christianity, and I'm wondering what you think about it and if it would hold up.
I suppose so. This is a debate stream, but I mean, you're already up here. So what's the argument? You could just, I can give you the Bible passages in the deconstruction cheat sheet. I list all the Bible passages that negate free will. If you looking for Bible passages on it, but go ahead. I'm listening to the. Yeah. I'm all ears.
So I jumped up on a live the other day, and I kind of gave this metaphor, and it seemed like it blew the minds of the people listening. Maybe I'm overstating a bit, but I argued that we don't have free will if Christianity is real, because you wouldn't have free will in this scenario. So imagine tomorrow you wake up and there's a party at your house, and you get up and you walk outside, and your buddy is hosting this party at your house, and he's like, "Oh, sweet, you're awake. We're going to play football. Choose A team or B team." And you're like, "No, thanks. I don't want to play football." And he's like, No. You have to play. Choose A team or B team." And you're like, "But I just woke up. I haven't even had breakfast yet." He's like, No. You don't get a choice. We're going to play football. Stop being a party pooper. Do you truly have free will in this scenario? Because you didn't choose to join this party, right? And now you have to choose a team? You don't have free will in Christianity because God put you here on this earth, and now you have to choose between following God or going to hell. Do you have free will?
Yeah, so I mean, based on the definition of free will, typically it's the ability to make a decision without any outside influences. And so the whole idea of Christianity or Islam or any of these other religions is that if you don't make the right choices, there are consequences, right? So based on the definition of free will, obviously, like none of us would have free will in these religions, but the person you're going to talk to is probably going to use the word free will or the phrase free will to just mean you have the ability to choose. And I think at that point, that's where the conversation is going to get a little more interesting, because I don't know, most theists, they probably don't know the actual definition of free will.
I mean, which then it ended up me describing that free will can't be coerced, and using
Right.
the scenario of, I don't know what words I can use on this live. So you hold a pew pew up to somebody's head and you threaten them with grape.
Right. Yeah, that would be a lack of free will because they are being threatened and or coerced into making a decision.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
yeah, that was the whole
hold on.
entire thing.
I think you're
I'm wondering what.
Hey, Jordan, we can't hear you because I think your internet connection blipped on us. Give me 1 second. I think you might have to refresh your browser, Jordan. Let's see if he'll be able to get back in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, on that, depending on how you want to define free will, there's a quicker way to make the argument, which is if God is all knowing and completely in control of everything and can configure reality any way he wants, then he would know a billion years before you were even born exactly what you are going to do and would configure the world in the way that he chose that outcome, because he could have configured a different one. So you don't really have free will anyway. That's a more direct way of attacking free will in the Christian worldview, in my view.
But Jordan, we got you back up. Your connection seems to be good right now.
Oh, great. I'm about to jump in an Uber. But yeah, I was wondering, do you think that argument holds up?
I would formalize it if I were you. Most people who are going to be interested in this particular argument are going to do one of two things. They want it formalized, or they want the Bible verses that would demonstrate the validity of the claim. So what I would do is make a formal syllogism out of it. But I mean, your argument is correct. Obviously, based on how you laid it out, yeah, you don't have free will.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Yep. Jordan, I think we're losing.
Sorry.
I think we're and we lost him. Okay.
Into the Uber he goes, I guess.
And he's gone. All right, I'm gonna request up on the TikTok. Oh, I don't need to request up. Sorry, you're the one that was gonna request up on TikTok. I'm the one streaming TikTok right now.
Oh yeah, how does that work? So I have to find you on there. Eh?
Yeah. Just hit the guest request on the live stream, and then I'll pull you up, and people will see that we're live together.
Of course, thank you for that.
And friends, thank you so much for being here. For those just filing in, we're doing some debates tonight, John and I, and we're also going to be raising money for our friend Spencer. There is a GoFundMe page for Spencer that is linked in the comments and also in the description. We have a pretty light goal actually for the fundraiser. I think we're going to be able to smash it pretty well. So we've got about 4 hours to make things happen, and I'm going to be auctioning off some of my famous coffee mugs, signing them and shipping them to the people. We do have one guest in the TikTok queue though, so let me grab that guest and we'll get things going. Welcome in.
Presumably, my TikTok should be muted here, right? On the phone. I just mute my mic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. My mic.
Yep. Is this name Beast? Am I understanding your name correctly, guest? Beast? Beast edits?
Yeah.
Did you request by accident?
Yeah.
Does your equipment work? Do you know where you're at right now? What day of the week is it?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Okay, I need to leave.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my dad listens to this. He can't hear me.
Yeah.
I see y'all.
You're in the wrong place, child. Wrong place. Well, yeah.
Big up to your dad, though.
Yeah, big W dad, right? All right, friends. Hey, we're off to a start here. We are empty on the YouTube and the TikTok queue, as it happens at the beginning of the stream typically. So we're live. I've got from 4 to 8. Is that all right, John?
Sure.
Yeah. So we've got time to talk to quite a few guests, but as per usual, if you wait till 3 hours into the live stream to request up, we're probably not going to get to you. I know it's hard. No one wants to be the first guest. No one wants to kick things off, but the Bible tells you, Christians, that you kind of have to. 1 Peter 3:15 says that this is kind of your mission. Your whole job here, Matthew 28, is to make disciples of all nations. That includes us. So,
yep,
that's where we're at.
Don't be letting Jesus down now. He won't be happy.
He will not be happy at all. Unless you're a Calvinist. If you're a strict Calvinist, then you don't have to evangelize. Everything happens under God's plan anyways.
It's all locked down. Yeah.
Yeah.
In which case, party, because you can't do anything about it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to pray. Like, it's all been decided.
Right.
Yeah. Calvinism's a wild it's a wild thing to believe, but like, honestly, it kind of is there. It's in the Bible. So what are we gonna do?
I just need to respond to questions in the chat about the kill switch and bingo are not operational for this stream. They will be back in play on the Thursday stream. But yeah, for tonight, no kill switch, no bingo.
Yeah, no. We could play bingo, but we don't have to. The Knights Who Say Knee, good to see you, and thank you for the super chat, friend. Says Medi Priest. Actually, hold on, I gotta change the layering here real quick. My deepest apologies. I didn't have the layer set up correctly. There we go. All right, now we're good to go. Okay. From the Knights Who Say Knee, Meta Priest, who's also an attorney. Guess that makes him a father-in-law. Told me his church accepts all denominations, but prefers 50s and 100s. A double banger.
Double banger.
We appreciate that one. And from the Knights Who Say Knee, glad you both were enlightened by Captain Skeleton Man. And boy, were we ever.
I'm loving your compilation idea. We have to make that happen.
He was on like everybody's live stream this week, crashing out. I'm not.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw him on Unapologetic, but did you get him solo as well?
Yeah, yeah. He came in yesterday.
Amazing.
It was wild. And then after I cooked him and called him out for his lies, he started pretending that he worked for the FBI, and then he started pretending that he worked for NASA, and it was just he might not be well. That is a distinct possibility. Nevertheless,
Kind of heading
we
in that direction, yeah.
yeah. The problem is like typically if you're talking to someone and it's pretty clear they're not well, you kind of just let them go. But like when they're that big of an ass hat, you're kind of like, maybe they earned it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But his channel did go down. It's gone now. I don't know if he deleted it or
What,
YouTube
his
took it
channel's
down.
gone down?
It's gone. Yeah,
Oh
it's
no.
gone.
So what, his GPT scholarship is lost to the world? That's a tragedy.
Yeah, his dissertations are gone.
Oh man, imagine making AI write you a dissertation and posting it publicly with the Chat GPT prompt still on it.
And then
Just imagine
bragging
that.
about writing dissertations. Pretty crazy.
Grim, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
someone was calling it academic stolen valor. I love that.
yeah. We have one guest in our non-TikTok queue, Sam Wise Gamgee. I believe I pronounced that mostly correctly. So we'll grab our next guest. How you doing, Sam Wise?
Hey, I'm not an op, so I can get off. I was gonna say, if like threatening someone isn't a violation of free will, then God can just do that, and it won't violate their free will. So that kind of makes that argument fall apart.
Wait, say that again?
If threatening someone doesn't violate someone's free will, then God can just threaten people who are about to sin, and then it doesn't violate their free will. So that argument falls apart. Like when theists use that.
I don't know. I don't know what argument you're referring to.
Well,
I've
there's like
never
a
heard
yesterday
it.
that-
I've actually never heard a theist argue for free will yet.
Well, I'm saying when when God allows people to sin, people say it's because of free will.
Yeah.
So if they're going to use a tight definition of free will, then you can just say that it's still free if they're being threatened to not do it.
But the definition demands that there is no threat.
I agree. But if that is the definition that they're going to insist on using.
John, do you know what he's talking about?
I mean, vaguely tracking. I think you're saying that the way that God could stop people doing evil is to intervene before they do it, warn them about the consequences, and thereby dissuade them from doing it, and not thereby invalidate their free will. But first of all, that argument doesn't touch on natural disasters. There's a whole load of areas it doesn't touch on, and if you're coercing someone with threats beforehand, then depending on what definition of free will you're using, you're still stopping them, aren't you? You're not allowing them to behave freely. It's still a shakedown. It's a mafia shakedown just before the act, isn't it?
It's not my definition. I just mean when theists do insist on like that very broad definition. But anyways,
Sure.
I'll get off. Sorry.
A better argument is just to look at all the verses in the Bible where he completely messes with people's autonomy and free will and hardens their hearts and sends lying spirits. You don't even need to get into what kind of discussions he might have to have with them before they act.
Oh, and they're gone. Okay. Well, friends, we are looking for opposition, and John and I are both nice as long as you're not like crashing out up here. Yep, like John's really nice. I've never heard John say anything even rude to a guest, even when they deserved it.
I try. I have my moments. Sometimes it cracks, but it takes quite a lot.
It really does. Well, friends, we're gonna we'll read some super chats while we're waiting for guests to load up. We've got a couple topics on the board for tonight. God does not exist. You cannot choose what you believe. Jesus was a fraud. God is a sadist. Why is God hiding? And original sin is unjust, which I suspect there's a lot of Protestants that don't believe in original sin, but it actually is in the Bible, believe it or not. We can go there if we need to. Dr. McFarland Studios, thank you for the super chat. Can you explain 1 Corinthians 15:56, where the sting of death is sin? Revelation 21, where death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. Yeah, so I mean, the general idea is that death has been done away with, right, through Jesus, which is why there is no sting anymore. So when you go to 1 Corinthians 15, it's going to say, "O death, where art thou, sting?" I believe is the way they used to word it in the King James Version. Let me see what they're going to word it in the NRSV because they're obviously going to have a more updated phrasing of it. And it says, the sting of death is sin. Oh, interesting. And the power of the sin is the law. But thanks be to God who gives us victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Interesting. There's typically people quote the previous verse, verse 55, where it says, death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? Then he says, the sting of death is sin. Actually, it's kind of backwards. The sting of sin is death. But to be clear, in Revelation 21, when it says that death was thrown, death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire, my understanding is that when it means death, like this is just referring to the fact that nobody's going to die anymore. Whereas in 1 Corinthians 15, people are they're still mortal, they're still going to die. But the sting of death is no longer there because you'll be raised to new life with Christ. That's why 1 Corinthians 15, Paul says, if Christ has not been raised, then there is no resurrection of the dead, and we should be pitied most among men. And so the general idea for Paul is death doesn't have a bite anymore because it can't hold you in the grave. You're free through Christ. So.
Unless you're apistos, and then you're in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
Burning lakes abound.
Yeah, just make sure you believe the right denomination. If you pick the wrong denomination, God will still light you on fire.
Yeah, you know, my favorite thing about the list of people who are being thrown in the lake of fire is that includes sorcerers. I love that.
Yeah, as if they even exist.
Yeah, brilliant.
It seems like that is an admission that there are powers other than God.
Seems that way, right? They're enough to worry about putting it on the list of no-nos.
Yeah. Mind hacks. Thank you for the super chat. Justin and John team up. Today is a good day. It is a good day. It's been a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks since John and I were able to chat together. So we're pretty excited. We just need some opposition to get up so we can do our thing. Herbie, thank you for the super chat, friends. It's Justin and his dad, John. Actually, I think we're about the same age. We're winning
Easy,
like a
Tiger.
mummy, Funker. I don't think people realize how old I am. But if John's older than me, I promise it's probably only by like a year or two.
It's more than that.
It might be. I don't know. But you're looking great. You don't look like you're my father, obviously. We do have one guest in queue.
Thank you, son.
Don't send me to my room. Okay, we'll get Retired Bomb Tech super chat, and then we're gonna get our first guest from the YouTube queue. Retired Bomb Tech, good to see you. Coffee fund money. Appreciate that. Need advice for debating you gentlemen. For you debating us? How do I deal? Oh, I mean from you gentlemen. How do I deal with people who constantly refer to apologists' websites and other areas instead of just trying to get their own opinions and not of theirs? Okay, so I'm pretty used to this. I'm sure John sees it too. When the thing I do is I already know the apologetics, right? So even in the conversation, if I know that they're using the websites, I'll just say, here is the apologetic for it, and here's why it doesn't work. And you just kind of short circuit them because they're like, oh, well, I was going to go run to this. Now I can't run to it. But John might have a different approach. I don't know what John, how he does it.
No, very similar. I mean, you can save a lot of time in debate if you can cut someone off at the pass and go, look, I've heard this argument before, and I can give you the argument, and I can give you my response to the argument, and then I can give you what your response to my response is supposed to be. And you can save an enormous amount of time by just laying it out there. And then they look a bit silly if they then have to walk you through the argument you just told them they were going to do, which invariably they try to do anyway.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
They never learn. They really don't. All right, we're going to get AJ in here. Welcome in, AJ. Are you at least 18?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Are you at least 18?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I wasn't sure. Are you also for atheists as well, or are you just strictly for?
Just doing debates.
No, because I am atheist. I was just looking at the prompt. I wasn't sure if I should join or not. I
Well,
am
we're
an atheist, so what I wanted to say is my thing is basically you can't choose what you believe. So
wait. Do you think that you can?
no, you can't.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what we believe. Right. Well,
It's like
it sounds like we agree on everything, so there's nothing for us to debate about.
no, I wasn't sure. Sorry, I just saw the prompt there. I thought that was basically for atheists as well to just say what they wanted to say. But if that's the case, I do apologize.
That's all right. Well, thanks for watching, and have a good one. Thanks for being in reality and being an atheist. Well,
Good
interesting.
work, AJ. Yeah.
Yeah. We are accepting opposition. If you're not opposition, we would kindly ask you to just join into the comment section and have a good time there. These lovely people have come to the live streams to see some robust discussion and debate, and so we're going to give them that once the theists get their arguments straightened out. Hallie Beck, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the $50 super chat. Great to see both of you together. Sent you an email, Justin, about a cool class I'm teaching this summer. Well, fuck, Tally. I'll have to check that out. I'm curious to know what class you're teaching. Now I'm going to look this up during the live stream. But I always thought teaching was fun, but it's a difficult job. Kudos to you for being able to do it. It takes a lot of patience. That's the right word.
For sure.
Yeah. We got a super
huge
chat.
Respect to teachers.
Huge. Well, especially now in school, because the way schools are now, it's like the students they kind of walk all over the teachers, and the teachers can't really do a whole lot about it typically. Tough. Helping make a deconstruct. Good to see you. DZ and JC are an amazing matchup. Thank you guys for supporting others in the community. May Puff bless this stream. Rock hard for Doug, simply what for Sharon, and Horrors rule. Yes, may we do get a Doug blessing and a Puff for the stream. We are, as Helping Make a Deconstruct said, raising funds for our friend Spencer, who unfortunately ended up in a bit of debt when his father was sick and passing, and is in a little bit of a pickle. We've got his GoFundMe listed in the description of the video, and also listed in the comment section of the video on YouTube. And we've got a modest goal set compared to some of our other live streams, and we're already about 25% to the goal. So I think we're going to be able to hit our goal here tonight and really help Spencer out. Spencer's been a huge influence in the community, friend and co-worker to all. So now's a good time to help him up while he's down. We do have a TikTok guest. It looks like the name. I want to make sure I can see this name. I can't read that text. Is it Tua?
Hi, yes, it's Guagua.
Guagua. How you doing, Guagua?
Hi, I'm doing very good. I'm 24, September 2001.
Sure. And do you agree or disagree with all of the items on the prompt?
I just kind of wanted to ask about the first one.
Okay.
Why do you think that God doesn't exist?
Well, John and I might have different reasons for it. John, you want to tackle this first? Or do you want me to?
You can start off and I'll join you.
So I used to believe in the Christian God, and then I deconstructed from Christian God to a generic God. And the thing that took me from a generic God basically to atheism is just trying to figure out like how it would be possible that there is an entity that can exist outside of space and time. It doesn't seem possible. If there was such an entity, it would have no causal power. All actions, all creation events, all of them already happened within time, and so God, God couldn't make time. He must already be in time. So it just seems like there's no good reason to believe that there is such a thing as a God just chilling outside of space and time that created everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would add to
okay.
that
Okay,
most
that makes
concepts of God
sense.
are just incoherent. They just most concepts of God just don't make sense because they tend to have properties that can't really exist together. So if someone asks me, do I believe in a God, I generally will ask, well, which one, and what's your idea of how would you describe this God? And then you can look at the reasons why. And so much of the time, the God that people are believing in logically cannot exist. It's not just that you are doubtful about it on the basis of insufficient evidence. It's that it's given properties that cannot exist in the same thing. Like if a being is all knowing, then it can't really all knowing and all powerful. It can't even really have free will, because if it knows at the start of the week what it's going to do at the end of the week, when the end of the week comes, it's not free to change its mind. So its own omniscience constrains its own freedom and ability. So if the God proposed is logically incoherent, you don't even need to worry about whether there's evidence or not. You're contemplating something that cannot exist because it's essentially self-contradictory and meaningless.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying, but could it be the case that this God would they would have free will, but they just know what they're going to do beforehand, what they're going to do, so they're still acting on their free will, but they just know, like they have foreknowledge. You
Yeah, are
get
they
me?
able to change their mind if Friday arrives and on Monday they knew on Friday they were going to be having pineapple on the pizza, and then Friday arrives and they think, I'm not feeling the pineapple today, I might give it a miss. Are they able to change their mind?
Well, I guess they would be able to, but then
Then
well,
they
then
would have
that
been
wouldn't
wrong on
really
Monday,
be
right?
foreknowledge then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that clears it up for me. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think there could possibly be like a god that's not really a person? Like it could just be, I don't know how to explain. It could just be like a force that exists, but not necessarily like how we think of a person with, feelings and thoughts and desires,
Well, I don't know if we would call that God, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
problem.
that
Is
that
what
makes
happens
sense.
then is that the conversation starts drifting into what things can we look at that we suspect could possibly exist, and then just call that God. And then you're just trying to apply a label for a label that really belongs to something else to a new thing that you can be a little more confident could possibly exist. Why not just get rid of the silly label? And if there's an energy, then we'll call it energy. If there's a principle of nature, we'll call it this new principle of nature. If there's some sort of previously not understood law of physics, we'll call it that. If it's dark matter, we'll call it dark matter. We don't the word God has so much baggage with it. It comes with preloaded with so much like theological baggage and philosophical baggage. Better to just leave it and let's just call things what they are rather than trying to find something that we can fit the word God to afterwards.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just kind of thinking about it because I do think that some certain religions they have an aspect of um, God, but he or she is not really a person, but more so like just the concept of like justice in general. So it's not like an actual physical person. It's more like just a concept. But I suppose that wouldn't really be what you guys are talking about. So. Yeah, okay, yeah, you guys made some really good points, so
Well, let me
I'm
ask
gonna
you a
think about that.
question. Do you believe in a particular
Yeah.
God or maybe a generic God?
So I am a Christian, but I don't have really good arguments for Christianity. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Uh,
I mean,
so
honesty is
yeah.
the best policy. To be fair, most of the people we talk to don't have good arguments for it either, but they can't be honest about it.
True.
Yeah, I'm still trying to like learn and things like that, because like sometimes when I have like these discussions with people, they know a lot more about, things like early church history than me. So I'm still trying to learn and make up my mind. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're on the journey and we commend you for like being interested in what's true. So best of luck to you. Let us know if you need anything.
Of course, if you guys want to maybe like recommend some books to me where I can learn more about it, because to be honest, I just want to arrive at the truth, whatever it is. Because if it's that God doesn't exist, that's okay. If it's God does exist, that's okay. But I just want to get more knowledge,
I don't know a ton of books on atheism specifically. I kind of came to it on my own. But I know there are some popular books out there. A lot of people liked the God Delusion when that was out. Do you know any good books, John?
Yeah, I would recommend anything by Dan Barker. Dan Barker's writing is fantastic. He was an evangelical preacher and minister for about 20 years, a very, very dedicated believer. And then he found his way out of belief whilst studying to better defend the faith, which is what happens to many people. I think, Justin, that's something along the lines of your story. The more educated you became, the less possible it was to maintain your beliefs. And Dan Barker had a similar journey. And he wrote 2 books. One is called Godless. Very good. It's very, very good and beautifully written and an easy read, but really nicely written. And the other is called Losing Faith in Faith, which is more autobiographical, but also very, very good. I would recommend those.
Yeah.
So how do you spell his last name?
Barker.
Okay, Dan Barker. Okay, I've seen it. And I do want to ask you guys one last thing, in case there's any more guests in the queue. What do you guys think about like the start of the universe? Like, do you think it had a beginning, or do you think it was created, or what do you think about it?
I don't think it has a beginning. I don't see a good reason to think that.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Thank you
best of
for
luck to you.
answering.
For sure thing. Stop by anytime, okay?
Yeah, keep asking
All
questions.
right, you too.
Good.
I mean, that's how you find answers, is by asking the question, right?
Right.
Well, we've got Bill in the queue. We had somebody else in queue. They dropped. They weren't here very long, but Bill's still in the queue. So we'll grab Bill from the queue and we'll keep the conversations rolling. Welcome in, Bill. Are you at least 18?
Hi, how are you guys? Yes, I'm much more than 18.
Fair enough. And Bill, do you agree or disagree with all the points on the board?
I'd like to talk about that you cannot choose what you believe. I've seen a lot of arguments for that. Usually it goes around and around and ends up with somebody bringing an example. Usually, let's say, flagrantly flawed, like believe that the floor is lava or something like that. And I just don't think it cut it, because you can have infinite amount of examples. It does not prove that the statement is correct. You just provided examples that not all beliefs are a choice, but not that belief is not a choice.
Bill, do you think it's possible to believe something if you're not convinced it's true?
I think that there's, first of all, I don't think that's a dichotomy, that is a 0-1. You get convinced of some amount, if you get some information about whatever you are dealing with, and at certain point you are able to choose which way to go with.
Yeah, but when what you're calling choose there is really a cognitive process where your mind is evaluating the evidence, and you're examining that, and you're looking at yourself and seeing whether you feel convinced by it or not. That isn't a choice. That's a self-examination. It's something you discover about yourself. It's not an action you take.
I see where we're coming from, but let's say just contradicting what I just said, just to throw some examples out there. You might not be convinced or fully understand, some physical processes, higher mathematics, whatever, called beginning of the universe or whatever you choose. You don't fully understand them enough to be convinced of the full extent of whichever statement is within this context, but yet you choose to accept those statements, either that the universe has no beginning, for example. So there's no proof of it. You're not convinced on the contrary, so you just choose to believe that the universe had no beginning.
Are you able to choose to believe that if you don't find the idea convincing?
If it's not fully, if I'm fully not convinced by it, no. But I don't think it's a 0-1 where you reach a turning point that you for sure will start believing.
It is a 0-1. Now, that's not to say that every belief has to be held with certainty. You can still believe something with degrees of confidence. So like you could say, I could say, I believe it's going to be nice weather next week. And I believe that with less confidence that I believe that the earth goes around the sun. I believe both of them, but I believe one of them with a confidence that approaches certainty. And I believe the other one with just like, it's a bit of a hunch. Like, I just feel like it is, it's this time of year, it's June, it's probably going to be nice weather next week, right? But in both cases, the mechanism that's happening in my mind is that my mind is considering the proposition and either landing on a condition of thinking that it's true or likely true, or it isn't. And if it isn't, then what would it mean to believe it?
Okay, just taking one of the examples that you offered regarding the weather, it is a very, let's say, weak kind of belief, more like hope or wish that there will be a nice weather.
I'm saying I genuinely think it will be. I genuinely think it will be because I'm persuaded that the chances are higher that it will than that it won't, right? I could be wrong, but my belief is that it will. But that belief doesn't come from a choice I've made because I like the idea. It comes from my mind evaluating the idea and feeling a sense of agreement with it, right? Whereas if I don't feel that agreement, I'm not able to believe it. I can't just decide to find it convincing if I don't.
I see what you're what you're proposing. It may work in very, I don't know, 50-50 chance of events or not. But okay, I think it would be a nice weather. Why you may not even be capable of describing the processes that led your mind to make that guess. And then you start following it. But I don't think you can do the same statement regarding something of real value.
Really? What's the value condition that changes the cognition of your mind? How valuable does something have to be before your mind starts operating differently?
I would say that is something intrinsically important to your mind. Anything that you're able to spend energy evaluating it.
I mean,
because
can you evidence that? That's a pretty wild thing to say, that once it's important to you. I mean, what I will give you there is that there is motivated reasoning, right? So there are times when you have a very strong emotional need to believe something or not to believe something, and that can play into the way your mind perceives it. But those influences are themselves not chosen. They are also involuntary. And so they actually take you further away from your claim of being able to choose belief than bringing you further towards it.
Okay, and your point is there is zero active part of you. Let's say you have zero. I'm sorry, I'm struggling with the English here. You have zero input in it. You have zero will in this decision. Let's say you just reach a certain amount of evidences or lack of evidences, and then this is it. You're convinced or not.
I'll give you one thing, which is that you are able to influence the outcome to an extent, right? Because you can choose what you pay attention to. You can kind of choose your attitude towards things. You can be very closed-minded and shut down to new information, or you can actively look for it. There are things you can do around the formation of the belief which make it more or less likely that a given belief is going to happen. But the actual formation of the belief itself is a process that happens in your mind without your permission and without your agency. And then you discover it afterwards in much the same way that you discover that you're frightened of something. Nobody decides to be frightened of something. They encounter some input and their brain processes it and produces fear. And then they realize they're frightened, but no one decides to be frightened. And belief works in the same way.
Yeah, I do grant that for some sort of instinct or fear, hunger, whatever, that your body needs to react to it, you don't really have a choice. And this is pretty much outside anything you can do other than, I don't know, train yourself to it. But at that point, you're not convinced by it anymore. But with philosophical things or scientific statements, you will gather some amount of data. Okay, it just clicked, sorry. Okay, I grant it to you. You just gather some amount of data that is enough to
There's the rub.
turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got
Okay. Thank you for the guidance.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, Bill.
Good for you.
Well, you don't see concession in real time too often, do you?
Good for him. That's an intellectually honest person having a conversation, and I get it. People feel very, very threatened by this idea of not choosing belief because it feels like you're taking away someone's agency and saying you have no control over what your mind is going to believe. It's not that. It isn't that. You've got lots of control over your life. You can decide what you pay attention to. You can decide how open-minded you are. You can decide how you want to live your life. You can decide what your inputs are. You just don't get to decide whether your brain buys them or not. That's the bit you don't get to decide.
Well, friends, we don't have opposition in the box at the moment. It's a great time to jump in the box. We're going to read some super chats, and while we get some opposition loading up, if we run out of opposition and super chats, I'm going to start auctioning off some coffee mugs to donate money to Spencer's campaign, which, by the way, we are now over 25% way to our goal. So
Awesome.
right now, the goal was $4,000. Let me refresh. We just passed 1,100. We're currently at 1,121. So we're off to a great start, friends. And I know that this community is going to be able to crush this goal and help Spencer out quite a bit. So Spencer is a dear friend of ours and member of the community. It's a good time to come around and show him that the community supports him the same way he's supported others. Garlic frog diet. That sounds delicious. Thank you for the super chat, Justin and John. The theists gruesome twosome. Let roasting commence. How often do you get called gruesome?
Happens all the time.
And Gordon Loves Science, thank you for sending out 10 John Cohen unconvinced gift memberships. Hell yeah.
Thank you, Gordon.
That's what we're talking
Gordon's
about.
Awesome.
That's what we're talking about. Gordon is awesome. And Ivy, thank you for the super chat. Calvin is here, still in group chat. Someone recently left, and group message was, "We pray the scales fall from their eyes so they can see the beauty of our ancient doctrine." Oh boy, the beauty of love me or burn. It's
Wow.
It's something. It really is something. Actually, I think we have one guest loaded up. So Cynthia, thank you for the super chat. Says, "Hey guys, just got here. How will the auction for your cups? I think how will we do the auction for the cups? I want one, and I am willing to pay." So we're going to do it like literally auctioneer style. When we get to that point, I'm literally going to hold up the mug and have people throw dollar amounts in the comments. And I've got a spreadsheet open. I'm going to write down the highest bidder for each one. And then you'll have to contact me to give me your mailing address. And then I'll take them later this week, probably Thursday, to get them all mailed out at once. So that's how I'm planning on doing it right now. If there's a better way of doing it, I don't know.
I think that's it. Yeah, that you've done the auctions before, and that's worked well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been all right. Yeah. We have Ariel in the guest box now. Ariel, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Awesome. I can hear you. It's a little quiet. If you can get closer to the microphone, it would help.
All right. How's this?
That is better.
All right. So hello, Justin. I'm not familiar with you. I've spoken to John a couple of times before. I don't know how memorable. I'm an atheist, but I've a couple of times pushed back on this idea that you can't choose what you believe. And I think I'd like to do that one more time.
I mean, we've just kind of had that discussion, though. I'm not sure if the audience are going to.
Oh, I wasn't. I actually only just came in. Interesting. Well, I did not hear what the argument was, unfortunately. So I hope this isn't a rehash.
Let's get 2 concessions in a row.
Yeah. You know, maybe
we can try it. Okay, go for it then.
So to rehash a little bit of stuff I've said before, it's my personal opinion, and I would say experience of the world, that belief in terms of how convinced you are of a thing, or whether or not you are convinced of a thing, is more of a spectrum than a binary. That how convinced you are can be very strongly convinced, very, very weakly convinced, right? And that you move up and down that spectrum over time. And I also believe that there is some range that you can choose as a sort of matter of will. Sometimes that range is entirely in the do not believe. Sometimes that range is entirely in the believe side of the spectrum. But I think that, for example, the example I had given the last time I called was essentially when I'm like equally convinced of 2 mutually exclusive claims. At the time, the example was whether my name is John or whether my name is James, or whatever the 2 were. Right. And it's impossible to say which, but there's some reason to believe both. Right. For very small scale claims like that, which I'm equally convinced of either one or close to it, I find that I can choose which one I believe at any given moment and switch between them as a matter of will. And that's my personal experience.
But I would respectfully push back on that and say, if it is honestly true, your starting conditions are true, and there is exactly the same amount of evidence for both, it could be, we can simplify it and say it's a coin toss, right? The coin might be heads and the coin might be tails, and you have no reason to think that it's more likely to be one or the other. The intellectually honest position there is to remain neutral and recognize that you have no basis on which to believe it's one or the other. And if you say, well, I'm just going to decide to believe it's heads, what you're actually doing there is you're saying, I'm going to decide to behave as if I believe it's heads, right? You're not genuinely reflecting something that is an internal state of your mind. You're not expressing outwardly an inner conviction that you have that it really is heads, because you have no reason to think that. And if you're a rational agent, that's just not possible. That's going to happen. So what you're describing as I'm going to just choose for now to just believe it's heads is really just you saying I'm going to choose to behave a certain way. That's a choice you can make.
I feel, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to say exactly what the internal mechanisms of a mind are. The reason I find that this works is because people, and it's hard to speak in universals, but I'm tempted to say all people aren't perfectly rational agents. We can do little brain tricks on ourselves to make ourselves believe certain things, even if we understand them to be irrational. And I agree, by the way, if we were perfectly rational beings, that this shouldn't be possible, but I don't think that we are. I can give another example that I think might be a bit more illustrative.
Before you give your other example, what I would say is there are decisions you can make where you can create the potential for you to talk yourself into something, right? So you can say, you can like work, let's say in this example, you're going to work really, really hard at talking yourself into the coin is heads. But ultimately, whether you're able to do that or not, itself results in a process which is not a choice. In other words, if your efforts to convince yourself that the coin is heads are successful, well, then you will have no choice but to believe it's heads. And if your efforts to talk yourself into thinking its heads aren't successful, then you won't be able to. So ultimately, what we're still dealing with is some kind of input coming into the networks in your brain that evaluate a proposition as far as to whether you believe it or not. The input can come from outside, or it can come from your own contemplation. You can sit in a cave for 3 months and meditate on the coin and try to come to the point where you become, yeah, that coin was definitely heads. Either way, you're not actually directly choosing. Something has to persuade you. And that's really the point I'm trying to make here is that effort to persuade yourself may be successful and it may not be successful, but it's not a direct choice, even though it feels like it, because you're locating the choice in the actions you take before the belief forms. And I'm a bit wary of boring the audience with this, because it does get a little bit kind of lost in the weeds. And the only reason we speak about this stuff is because it's interesting when you apply it to theological claims. You know, outside of that, it's just kind of cool and interesting and fun to think about, but it's sort of really of little consequence. The value in the conversation is relating it to a God belief and the threat to punish people for not having the right beliefs.
I hear that. I mean, I feel like it's interesting. I find it interesting thinking about it just from a human psychology standpoint. And I imagine you must, if you've written a whole book on the subject. But I guess the audience. I feel like the other example I was going to give might be more interesting to talk about, because I feel like it's a little more illustrative of the idea that it is, in fact, something that that I can make myself have a belief, right? I can set the conditions as such. And I don't think this is always the case, but I think that you can create conditions wherein I have a belief and it is a matter of choice, that I can make the conscious decision at any moment to choose to stop believing this thing. And this will come in the other example that I'm going to give, which is that I myself personally quite enjoy playing tabletop role-playing games. And a lot of the time, you're just kind of playing a character with the understanding fully that this is not really who you are. But sometimes, and I do find this is my personal experience with it, if you can get really, really invested in it and spend a lot of time putting yourself in this position where you get very, very into a play session of some kind, there is a level to which you genuinely believe that you are this fictional character in this fictional setting, and you can insert yourself strongly enough that it is something that feels to me internally not unlike a belief, but it's a belief that coincides with a simultaneous contradictory belief that I am a real person in the real world. And at any moment I can decide that that real person in the real world belief will just completely supersede, and I will no longer believe that I'm this fictional character. And I think this is just the strongest version of quite literal suspension of disbelief, which I think is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's a bit like method acting. Some people would say that method actors are doing that they
Sure.
get into the roles so much that on some level, you know, they're. But I would still say, if a really push comes to shove, they don't actually believe that they really are a pirate, or they really are. You know, it's just that they're emotionally caught up in that thing, and so it's got the trappings of real belief without really being genuine, you know, propositional assent.
I'm not entirely convinced that there's a strong difference between the two, to be honest. At the very least, I'll put it a different way. When hell is not on the line, I don't believe there's a strong difference between the two. You know what I mean? Like, sure, if we're talking to a theist and they believe that if you don't believe in Jesus, then you may go to hell, then different story. But I feel like if we're just talking about human psychology, I really don't see a strong difference.
Okay, well, the neuroscience disagrees with you, but I appreciate you coming in to litigate it again.
I'd be curious to see the literature on the subject, genuinely.
Well, chapter 7 of my book discusses it a little bit, but you'll have to wait until November for that.
Will do. All right. Well, maybe you'll get that concession in November then.
I'm a patient guy. Thanks for calling in again.
No problem. See you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Yeah, John's in it for the long game. No shortcuts.
Yep. No shortcuts.
Well, friends, we're waiting for some opposition to load up. We'll read your super chats while we're doing that, and I'll be checking our GoFundMe page for our friend Spencer to keep track of where we're at. I might restart the TikTok stream. It did not catch the algorithm. My last stream, I got like 2 or 3 different violations, so they probably put me in TikTok jail for a little bit. So I probably need to restart.
Is it me or are they getting crazier? Because I get like every stream they're complaining about one thing or another.
Every single stream, yeah.
Crazy. Have you ever had the "you're not being exciting enough" message?
What?
I get a few times. They say that basically because my background is static and I'm not moving around on the screen much, I get a message saying gifting has been suspended because, like, I can't remember how they phrase it. It's like there's not enough action going on. Like I need to be dancing around the room or something. It's wild. Absolutely crazy.
I would I'd send them gifts if you started dancing. It's an avenue, right? Nevertheless, friends,
if it comes to it, man. Yeah.
we usually John and I usually have a lot more people in our TikTok live stream. I've got about 150 people in here right now. It should be around 500 or 600. So I'm going to restart TikTok, and hopefully that will push us into the algorithm, and we'll get a TikTok guest to join up here. 1 second. All right, TikTok is for the moment not running. Also, Brizinger, thank you for the super chat. Can you talk about Jeremiah 31:31? Negation of new covenant. Also Job 38:22 through 23. Why is God hoarding snow in storehouses? Oh no. Okay. There are 2 things happening here. The first thing is Jeremiah 31:31. It talks about this new covenant. It obviously negates the new covenant of the New Testament because it says that everybody will know the Lord. Nobody will say know the Lord anymore because everybody from the youngest to the greatest will know the Lord. And so Jesus couldn't be bringing the covenant of Jeremiah 31:31 into being, given that everybody does not know the Lord. But to be sure, it still also includes the law and a couple other things. It says, it will not be like the covenant that I made with the house of Judah. With their ancestors when I took them by the hand and brought them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant that they broke, though I was their husband, says the Lord. But this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Lord. I will put my law within them. So that means that a real law, like a law code, like the law of Moses, he's going to write it on their hearts. Says, I will put my law within them, and I will write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall they teach one another or say to each other, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, says the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sins no more. Now, some people are going to say, well, this replaces the old covenant. Nope, it sure doesn't. Just keep reading. In 3 different chapters, God reiterates that the old covenant is never going away. The new covenant is a modification on top of the old covenant. That's why it says, thus saith the Lord, who gives the sun for a light by day and fix the order of the moon and stars by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. The Lord of hosts is his name, so on and so forth. Give me a second. We get almost there. I'm going to say what we want is for chapter 23 and also Jeremiah 33 for the 2 promises about the old covenant. 1 second. I know it's in there. I know it's in there. My memory might have grabbed the wrong chapter. I'll have to find it for you. It's highlighted in my Bible, so I can find it in my Bible. But God says in Jeremiah on multiple occasions that until my covenant with the sun and the moon and the day and the night cease to be, then my covenant with Israel will stand. Basically, until the very end, God's initial covenant with Israel is gonna stand. It says it on a handful of occasions. I thought it was going to show up in chapter 23. It might be in chapter 22, though. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. The reality is nothing in the book of Jeremiah would lead one to believe that God is getting rid of the old covenant just because he's mentioning the new covenant. The new covenant doesn't mean that the old covenant goes away. Like when somebody creates new laws or a new way of following laws, it doesn't mean that the old laws just disappear. Every time my state creates new laws, the old laws don't just become obsolete. But hope that answers your question. I think there was one more verse in there. Oh yeah, the hoarding of stuff. Well, in the ancient world, they did, like, the imagery that's in the Bible. It's not just a funny picture. That's literally what they believed. If you read the book of Enoch, you'll find it. He describes what that looks like. So straightforward. Good to see you. Greetings from Norway. Looking forward to the show, guys. Well, thank you all the way from Norway, which reminds me, I think we've had the TikTok stream down long enough that we could probably restart it. So let me do that. And TikTok is a go. Hopefully we'll be able to hit the algorithm this time. Straightforward. I hope that we can put a show on for you here tonight. What we need is some opposition in the box. And hopefully, if we get some opposition in the box, we'll be able to get some robust discussion happening. So we'll see. We'll see. There he is. John's back. Cool.
There we go.
Friends, if you're watching on TikTok, you can request up by using the guest request button. We'll get you right into the guest queue. If you're watching on something other than TikTok, just click the link in the description, honey.cc/DZ Live, and we'll be able to get you into the conversation. We do have a fundraiser running for our friend Spencer. Links to that in the comments and also in the description. Gretchen, thank you for the super chat. Damn right, I called it academic stolen valor. He's also guilty of military stolen valor. So there's that. Wait, Gretchen, Skeleton Man claimed to be in the military or ex-military? Was that?
He did have that vibe because he had stuff up on the wall, didn't he? But I'm not sure if he explicitly claim it.
Oh, damn.
And of course, if he did, we wouldn't know that that's untrue. Of course.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm not shocked that he would lie about that from what we know already. And Rod Blow Alres says, John, Justin, Jesus was Captain Skeleton, George Santos undercover. Somehow I don't think so. Santos, have you seen Santos? He doesn't look quite like that fella. He doesn't have the hair for sure.
He certainly doesn't have the hair, no.
Unless he got a really good toupee. Kane, good to see you. If you took away every mistake I've made, you'd erase half the person I became. My sins aren't a flaw in the story. They're part of it. True. I mean, it's kind of how we learn. All right, we do have one guest in queue, although they look like they might be an atheist. So friends, if you are an atheist, or if you agree with all the points on the board, probably don't need to request up. We're just looking for people who disagree with us. So let's grab Doug is Love.
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing great. How you doing, Justin?
Doing well, doing well.
So I'm not going to take up much of your time. I know we both pretty much agree on the same exact points, but I did notice something when I was in a theist debate earlier with some nobody on YouTube. And I noticed that I did something that you kind of did with Pastor Bell a while back. And I'm pretty sure you already kind of see the one-to-one comparison I'm about to make. But when you told her to consult God to like pretty much like get like make your channel crash, you pretty much did 1 Kings 18, if I'm correct, right? When with the Elijah story.
I actually forget it was a long time ago when I talked to Pastor Bell.
Yeah, I remember she spiraled out bad. But that one, because I hit somebody with that same kind of argument earlier, because I told him consult with your God about the subject we were pretty much debating. It was a morality thing. But yeah, I kind of saw the one-to-one thing, and I was just wondering, like, because you're more versed than I am in the Bible, did you kind of see the correlation there?
Can you say it again? Your connection's kind of bad, and so I'm not hearing all the words.
So pretty much me doing that, me pretty much telling them to consult their God and not get an answer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I kind of so I kind of was like, wait a minute, 1 Kings 18. So my question to you was like, I'm pretty sure you immediately saw the correlation if you've ever done that, because you're more versed than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I've challenged people. I have a whole live stream dedicated to it. You know, when I challenge theists to pray to their God, and then I pray to Doug to see what happens. And a lot of times they don't want to pray. And you could rightly point out that somebody like Elijah in 1 Kings 18 prayed, and God came through to demonstrate that he's real. So maybe they should too.
Oh, well, that's a calmer way to kind of point out the argument in its entirety. That's actually pretty cool. And I guess my last question before I go out, before I log off and let you do your thing, is if I want to study biblical Hebrew but I'm not in college, what are some resources that I can look for to start my journey in that?
If it was me, I'd contact Dr. Kip Davis or Dr. Josh Bowen and take their Hebrew class online. Both of them are excellent teachers. Yeah.
Okay, so Kip Davis, and what was the other name?
Josh Bowen.
Josh Bowen and Kip Davis. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you letting me on your stream for a little bit. I got the answer I needed. I'm gonna let you do your thing. And what's going on, John? I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you the whole time. I watch your channel a lot too.
Thanks. Take care.
All right.
Cheers.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Not opposition, but I'm sure we'll get some opposition hopefully soon. Nevertheless, those two verses were in the chapters that I was looking for. I apparently just looked past them. The first one is indeed in chapter 31, verse 35 to 37. And then the parallel is in 33, verse 20 and 21. And what it says, for everyone who can see the screen, thus saith the Lord, if any of you could break my covenant with the day and my covenant with the night, so that day and night would not come at their appointed time, then only could my covenant with my servant David be broken, so that he would not have a son to reign on his throne, and my covenant with my ministers, the Levites, so on and so forth. And then, we get more detail in the other promises as well. So the reality is God is not replacing any of his old covenants. He's going to be upholding all of his covenants, even if Israel is acting a fool. But we have a guest that I think is needs some help, perhaps with the viewing, or maybe has information. JZ, how you doing? JZ?
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's my PVG. I'm just making the timestamps, and I was wondering if you can increase the size of the font that shows the caller's name on screen. It's just too tiny, and I was wondering if you can increase it.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no problem. In fact, I can start right now and get it done. In fact, if I click on this, I can just make it bigger in real time. Is that better?
Yeah. Can you make it bold by any chance? Or
no, I can't change. Unfortunately, the font is automated. All of it's automated from Video Ninja.
Oh, that's okay. No, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Plenty helpful. Thanks, thanks, Justin, and
sure thing.
Good to see you guys, John.
Thanks, PVG.
Well, thanks to you, buddy.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. Okay, cheers.
Yeah. PVG does awesome work. He regularly does all the timestamps at the end of the live streams, so people coming to it have got a list straight away. He does. What's going on?
Last night I had a full queue. I had people to talk to all night.
Yeah, yeah. I had a full queue earlier today during the day. So I don't know, where'd everyone go?
Maybe
Craziest thing.
we beat all of them. We defeated all the theists.
Yeah, it's all finished now.
We're
Job done, right? We'll have to
We're-
find something else to do.
Oh, jeez. Axehead Gaming says Justin and John like Captain America and Iron Man. Fucking A, that's what I'm talking about. Well,
Fair enough.
theoretically,
Which one do you want to be?
well, I'd have to be Captain America since you're not an American, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
We'll see. We'll see. I did just hold on. We had a blip on our YouTube stream. I think we're good to go. I think for some reason it says YouTube did not receive enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Oops. Well, I don't know why my stream is lagging. We don't want a lagging stream. We're actually not running that many streams here tonight either. Interesting. If you're in the comments on John Cohen's stream, let me know if it's lagging. Throw some comments in there. I'm curious if it's lagging on John's stream or just over here on mine. But we do have a guest, Mark. I'm going to just use the first name, Mark, and hopefully we'll get a real guest and not a troll. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. And you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. Mark, are you at least 18?
Oh yeah. I'm 24 and Muslim.
Sure. Awesome. And which item on the screen do you disagree with?
I disagree with God hiding and his existence.
Oh.
Mhm.
So how would
I
one
agree with him existing. I just disagree with your God does not exist statement.
Well, I think there's two. One statement is that God doesn't exist. The other statement is that God, theoretically, if he does exist, is hiding.
Yeah, I would disagree with both of those. I'd say.
Okay. So where can we find him?
You can find him usually like through prayer and like through feeling, or if you want to like do the quick route, you could just like pass away. You'd find him.
Through feeling.
Yeah.
How do I feel God?
Yep. The same way a blind person feels the sun.
I've never felt God, so you're
It's-
gonna have to be more specific.
You'd feel them usually like that chills you get behind your spine and like the goosebump feeling,
But
like
it's
where
gotta
you're
be a
like
troll.
convinced of his existence.
This can't be real.
Mark,
No, I'm being honest,
does everyone
Mm.
who prays find God?
I think people who find God are the people who are sincere. So, if you're sincere in finding him and like, I take the signs of like our existence as one sign, the sun rising, the earth existing. Those are like signs that you could then put your emotional side and say like, yeah, he exists, and I'm convinced of that.
But it almost sounds like you just suggested that nobody who's prayed in good faith with an open heart and an open mind, sincerely, has failed to find God. That would be a ludicrous thing to suggest, wouldn't it?
I think, yeah, sinners could find God. I think just kind of like if you want to feel that feeling of God's presence, you got to kind of like humble yourself in front of him.
And you don't think that there are many people who have done that and failed to find God?
I think they just use logic too much, which would be a problem against them.
Right. Maybe applying logic to the silence they hear when they're waiting for their prayers to be answered.
I mean, this world's a test, so like, you don't get the answers easily without struggle.
It's a test.
You get me?
Who's running
Yeah,
running
like
the test?
it's like a test. Like, I mean,
Who's doing
this
the
world
test?
is a test, and
Who's doing the
who's
test?
doing the test? It's a subjective test to every. It's like it's a individualized test for everyone. to experience life.
Really? Who's
Yeah.
put this test together and implemented this program of individualized testing? Who's done that?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I'd say the creator did, the one
The
who
creator
started this
did.
universe.
Is God all
Yeah.
knowing? Yeah.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. Do all knowing creatures have to do tests?
No, no.
So
I
he's
mean,
doing
I
it
only
for
know things. I only know about
for
him the
fun.
things he tells me. He does the test. I mean, like interest, I guess you could say. Like,
Interest.
you know, like you know how like, yeah, like you know how like everything has a role and purpose. Like he fits that role.
I'm trying to figure out if
You
this
know,
is for
like
real.
in no, like in
Are
society, you'd have the
you
king,
making these
right?
arguments seriously?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you want a more like kind of structuralized, we can start from somewhere. Then we could like, if you want, you could deconstruct my ideas, or I could kind of like say that this is what I think. And I think that's way better than just like saying claims, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
You think?
we want to hear a reason why. I mean, your response to God hiding was that he makes himself known to people who pray sincerely, and yet the world is full of people who have prayed sincerely, in some cases for decades, and have heard nothing. How do you account for that?
Yeah. So I would take the passage of the story of Abraham, where he prayed for 40 years, and God did not respond until 40 years after, which it shows like kind of patience. You got to be patient.
You got to be. And what happens if you die before you've had a reply?
I mean, when you die, then you're closer to God than ever. So like you could probably get your answer there, hopefully.
Right. You said you were a Muslim, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So do you believe the Quran when it says that non-believers are going to be thrown in a fire?
Yeah. I mean, it says,
Right.
I mean, for like the crimes they've done, yeah.
It specifically says for non-belief, actually, in a few places, doesn't it?
It describes it as a like a criminal offense, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Does
I
that make
mean, the
sense?
thing about I usually do think about that. I do think about that, like the justification of that of such punishment. But I would take the stance that first of all, God punish you justly, and that hellfire will not be it won't be. I take the stance that it's not eternal for everybody. So there might be people who it's eternal for, not for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not hearing anything very convincing here. We're hearing excuses for why God remains hidden, even in the face of people who are non-resistant non-believers, right? They may want a relationship with God, they just can't discern the presence of any God, and this in many cases goes on painfully for many years, and then this abuse of silence is followed up with eternal torture for failing to have reached the right answer. Does that strike you as moral?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm truly sorry for such an experience, but I mean, like when it comes to being open and like, even though like you might feel the like you're not receiving anything from God and it's quite quiet, but then you're trying your best to kind of get that meaning from Him, and then you die upon disbelief. I think that's something written for you before you were born. God specifically speaks about it. The we call it in the womb, basically. For it's a specific thing, but after 2 to 3 months, everything about your life will be written. and so they will follow accordingly to that.
Okay. I'm not sure what to say. Justin, what have you got?
I don't know how that addressed anything.
I mean, we could talk about Islam being like true.
Sure. Why would we think that Islam is true?
I mean, we could slowly take steps and say like you know, God's existence is a necessary thing for our existence. And then we then look at like the deities that are worshipped by humankind. And then we pick the best of that, and I would say it would be God, or like my God, Allah. Yeah.
Well, we can start with why you think God is necessary. I assume you have a syllogism.
Yeah, the Kalam argument. I don't
The
know if you heard.
cosmological argument does not result in a God being necessary. It results in a first cause, but it doesn't have anything to do with a God. That being said, the Kalam fails because it cannot establish that there was a first moment or that the universe was created.
How? I mean, when I hear it,
What?
it sounds like it's supporting me.
It doesn't. Does basically that the Earth came into existence, premise number 2, or the universe came into existence? We don't know that it once came into existence.
Yeah, I mean, God didn't come into existence, but He existed, and through His existence is the cause of this universe existence.
But that's your conclusion. You can't use that as one of your premises.
Right. Okay. I mean, then it would be hard for me then. Well, I mean, give me a second. I'm looking at it right now, just reading it real quick. I would say, I mean, it's called belief for a reason. I feel like that's another thing, or like faith. Yeah. The first cause, right? Let's say like, I mean, if you believe like the universe is eternal, that's a thing, right? But I don't think this universe, I think this universe is like a plane. Everything branches in itself, meaning that nothing in this universe is self-sustainable, meaning it relies on something.
I don't
And
know
I'd
what
say
any of
that
this
at
has
the
to do
end
with
of
what your starting point was. Your starting point was whether or not the universe was eternal, and now you're onto something very different. It's very difficult to track what you're saying because you keep jumping from like one argument to another. We actually haven't finished anything yet.
Okay, I'll stand on one argument. Yeah, sorry.
So you started on the Kalam, and I think the Kalam is a failure because it doesn't establish that the universe had a beginning or that it came into existence, and it certainly can't establish that the thing that caused it to come into being is a god.
Okay. I mean, if that premise, or if that if you think that's wrong, I think I could then jump onto the idea that I don't know if you heard, it's like maintenance theory, where like everything it needs maintenance. Sorry.
Maintenance?
Example of maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. Example, everything has a set of laws and rules, such as physics and whatnot, and how our universe operates, and because of these, the way the universe operates, things are like in a level, and they're like branches. Like I sustain off of sunlight, food, and this and that, and everything kind of branches together. And I believe because there's no pure self-sustainability on this universe, that it's a necessary thing, or there has to be a necessary being that causes everything that lives that is not self-sustaining to then live.
Mark,
Right?
the reason why biological organisms on Earth, are able to survive using all the items here on the Earth is because this is where we evolved, right? Those that could not survive by consuming their environment died. They're gone. Those who could survive survived. They're us. That's it.
Well, I don't believe in evolution, so.
Well, you should.
There's no
I mean, like,
excuse for you
coming from
to not believe in evolution, Mark. There is no excuse for an adult with even a modicum of education at this point in the 21st century, with the access to information you have, to be denying cornerstones of science. It's just silly. Come on, get with the program.
I mean, when you look at it, it's like, it just seems kind of mediocre. Like, oh yeah, there's a cell and it's just living, and then there's another cell and it mutates rapidly, and then it turns into something else.
Do you
and it
imagine that
adapts
the
to its
hundreds of thousands of people who work in the biological sciences every day, millions potentially, building entire frameworks of explanatory data based on these principles are just doing that? Oh, well, yeah, there's a cell, and maybe, like, you're making it sound like they're all just sitting around a bong. Do you understand how much empirical evidence there is for these explanatory frameworks, and how much of the science we rely on every day in the biological sciences, in the pharmacological sciences, in medical sciences, only exist because of an correct understanding of evolution?
Mm. I mean, I feel like from my point of view, it's like you're coming with the claim that we come from like monkeys, and I'm like, we come from Adam and Eve, and that makes more sense.
One branch is us. We're one of the branches. We're in the ape family. So, and this is provable. We've got genetic markers like endogenous retroviruses that are only explainable by having a common ancestor with shared DNA. So when a virus gets into your body, sometimes it can actually change your genome. It can insert small bits of DNA into your genome, and then you would pass that on to your children. Well, it's interesting that like all of humans share some endogenous retroviruses, a couple hundred of them. But it's also true that almost 200 we share with the great ape family. It's also true that there's a huge number of ERVs that we share with the great ape family that don't exist anywhere else in the animal kingdom. It only exists in our branch of the animal kingdom because we had a common ancestor with them, and they've been passing down that genetic anomaly for many millions of years.
Okay. I mean, I would say, in our belief, we have another way of looking at this and explaining it. And we believe that God punished a group of people into turning them into monkeys. And so that's why we have that genetic closure, like the same genetics. So they're just like it's de-evolution.
This can't be
They
true.
turned into monkeys.
There's no way
You
this
didn't.
is real.
I mean, if you,
I don't.
I mean,
I
if
don't.
you go
I'm
to
not
the
a,
I'm getting
Quran,
Poe's law. Poe's law
Yeah.
is flashing
We're-
across my eyes right
We're just
now.
gonna take that down. Listen, I'm not an expert on Islam, but I know Islam doesn't teach that a race of humans got turned into monkeys because God was mad. That's pretty silly. Okay. Well, we had two guests waiting to get in. One of them I've actually talked to before. I know is a Muslim, and one is la 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 la. So let me grab just a couple super chats, friends. While we're doing that, hey, remember we are trying to reach a goal for valued member in our deconstruction community, Spence, who is dealing with a huge issue right now in that he just lost his father, and there are a lot of unpaid bills that are now on his lap, and we're trying to remember in America, our medical system will bankrupt you. So we have a modest goal. We're trying to raise funds for our friend Spencer. There's a link in the comments and in the description so that you can give. And also later in the show, I'm going to be auctioning off some of my most valued and beloved coffee mugs to the highest bidder. This is probably the one people like the most. It says gonna fucking snap. It might be my favorite, to be honest, but nevertheless, that should be a fun time. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Wiz Nilly. It says transliterate this. Mildly moist for John. Oh, well done. Well done. And Ontological Socks is excited to see you and John collaborating, and I love you both. I love that you both are live streaming for a good cause. It's great to see so many people helping out Spencer. True. That's when people, when they leave church, they feel like they lose community. We're trying our best to build community here in the atheist space, the deconstruction space, so that you don't feel like you're doing this all by yourself. And Chodagus, good to see you. Says, if I get enough brain damage, I might believe in Jesus again. Please don't. Keep your brain intact and keep your atheism intact by all means. And because Loot says, I just rewatched The Sixth Sense and I'm thinking God has some form of Munchausen by proxy, making his children sick for attention. Love you guys, or love what you guys do. This is true. It's a form of Stockholm syndrome and Munchausen, where he that to fuck you up so that he can nurse you back to health.
So
He's got to fix the problem he created. And Arthur Ware, thank you for the donation. Friend says or the super chat says, I've had theists say God made humans using evolution, but we know there was once 5 species of human living at the same time, only for 4 of them to go extinct. That doesn't sound like a god with foreknowledge. That sounds like a waste. Well, yeah, the people who believe in guided evolution, a lot of them, I don't know if they actually believe in a god that's like omnipotent or omniscient. I understand that if you're religious, that is a type of god that you typically believe in. But the ones that accept evolution, a lot of times they're a little flexible. They're open theists even sometimes. Okay, let's get La 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 La. How you doing, La La La?
Hello.
Hello, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the points on the board?
I disagree. I think God exists.
Okay, which god?
Any.
Shiva?
God, of course.
Praise Shiva.
There's a creator, so the universe was created, the moon, the sun.
Sure. So what would be a good piece of evidence that any of this was created by God?
Just the way it's just perfectly done, the moon, the earth, the sun.
What do you mean by perfectly done?
Just the way the moon majestically shines in the night and floats, and it's just like perfect. And then the stars are majestic in the sky, and everything's
guy
just
can't be
beautiful,
real.
like a creator created it. Yeah, like it's just too perfectly art. It's like art, how it's created, and the sparkling moon and the stars.
This doesn't sound legit.
He's not serious. This is not a serious adult.
I'm
All right,
serious.
we're gonna.
Why not?
You're not. You're not. All right, we're gonna move on to the next. I think it's gonna be Math Theorem, and then Gavin, and then Sean in that particular order. So let's get Math in here. Hopefully, we're not gonna have to do any math on the live stream, but welcome in, Math.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Hey. Yeah, I'm a little busy right now, so I'll be back in like 20-30 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Thanks for coming in to let us know.
Why request up? What are we doing over here? My
That's so
goodness.
strange.
People are off tonight. Is there a full moon somewhere? Like, my goodness. Oh, we'll try Gavin. Welcome in, Gavin. Gavin's connection's not great. Gavin, I'm trying to pull you up from the queue and your connection's not connecting. You have to refresh your browser, but until you get that fixed, let me grab Sean. We're going to get somebody in here eventually. This is wild. Welcome in, Sean. Are you at least 18?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the points on the board?
I agree with them. I just wanted to compliment you guys. I'm a fan of the show, and I was hoping. I know you guys probably want to debate, but I just wanted to super quick touch on what drew me to atheism and being agnostic, if that's okay.
You're already up.
Okay. So the biggest factor for me is just seeing how big the universe is as a whole, and just understanding that there's obviously life way outside of what we see. And so it's shocking that people would look to one specific religion that was likely passed on from their parents, etc., or where they're born, and decide this one religion built not only the earth, but the universe as a whole. So I'm curious. I don't know if you guys have ever touched on what kind of pushed you away from religion, or if you've ever had that one subject that kind of got you guys to open your eyes.
Yeah, I'm sure we both do. I've talked about mine quite a bit. Johnny, have you talked about yours?
I've never been religious, so nothing pushed me away
Oh,
from it. It was silly. It was silly from the start.
yeah.
Right. Well, I appreciate you guys. The last thing I'll leave you with, I know you guys have probably used this or heard it from Dawkins, but most people, you know, they say, oh, you're atheist, you're atheist. Well, most people that believe in one set religion, they're an atheist to all other thousands of religions on earth. So I really like that point, but I will let you guys get on with the debates, and appreciate what you're doing.
Sure. Hey, thanks, Sean. Take care.
Thank you.
Friends, we're only looking for opposition. We're thankful that you're here, but nobody here wants to see a circle jerk. Everybody came here to see some debates, some conversations, and that's what we're looking for. We do have another one in queue, Madness of Life, it looks like. Welcome in, Madness. Are you at least 18?
Yeah. Yes. 3 times as much.
Awesome.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Well,
I've spoken to John one time before, maybe a few months ago. I think John is just so refreshing. I love how he cuts through things. I just admire him. I have the greatest respect for him, even though I do believe in God. Okay. I struggle with the text on your screen. It's quite small and my eyesight is not great, so I'm struggling with the things. So, but just kind of going back to what John said, I still, like John says, the science, why go against science? We know the science and just all the arguments, John, thank you, Justin. Just all the
Well,
arguments John made for the science, and would there be millions of people working there if there wasn't any value in it? So I do believe in evolution, but I also believe in God. I think it's okay, and there's not many people that I come across who believe in the Big Bang and the evolution theory, but also have a belief in God. I'm kind of one of I don't meet many. That's my thing. My belief in God comes from personal experiences that I had probably in my darkest moments. But so I've kind of gone down that road now that I do believe there's something higher that has a consciousness and awareness, and it kind of drives me through. I don't know if John remembers speaking to me maybe 4 or 6 months ago.
Yeah, I do.
So
Do you
which point
remember?
on the board
Yeah.
do you disagree with?
Right. I can't, like I say, but can you read them for me?
Shall I read them
Was
to
it?
you? Yeah.
Do you
So
mind,
the
John?
first one
Sorry,
is
'cause I just
God does not exist, and then you cannot
I
choose
know
what you believe.
I disagree with the first one, obviously, just based on what I've just
So,
said.
so we
Yeah.
could jump straight into that one if you want, or we have Jesus was a fraud, God is a sadist. Why is God
Okay.
hiding? And original sin is unjust. So
Yeah,
pick your poison.
I think the first 3 would be the strongest ones. Jesus was a fraud. I kind of struggle with that one just based on everything that he said. But I think for me, it's just I believe there is a God. It gets me up every day. It stops me losing the plot. But it is based on metaphysical things that I experienced to start about 20 years ago. It could have been other things that were happening in my brain that caused them. I don't know if you remember me explaining to you, John, that so I had these experiences where I started with an out of body experience. I was lying on my bed, my awareness shifted to my stomach, and then I was outside my body in something the size of a coin looking back at myself. But I wasn't under the influence of anything, and if I was, I would have rejected the experience. I would have thought, oh, that was very nice, but I wouldn't have accepted it. And it kind of went on from there over about a period of a year. I started having these types of things happen. Now, I'm open to the fact that it could be, I was going through a very difficult time with my health at the time. It could have been a safety mechanism caused by my brain that caused me to experience these things.
Hey, Madness.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep this concise. If I
Sure.
said
Okay.
God exists because of X, what are you going to fill in the X?
If God exists because of the X, um, it's very hard. I just do believe there is something there that has a consciousness. I can't give you the reason that there is, but like I say, I do believe in evolution and science as well.
Well,
And I have these arguments with people.
well, we are
I kind of
trying
believe both.
to get
Yeah.
somebody up here who can articulate
Sorry.
why their position is correct.
Okay. Shall I
Because
let
because
you move
if your position is just I believe this because I just have an inner feeling, that's kind of the
Yeah.
end of the conversation, isn't it?
Sure. Okay. All right, guys. That's fine. But I was just really trying to say that I do believe in the evolution, like John mentioned earlier. And why do we deny that? I do believe in the Big Bang. With all the science, I also accept that, and believe in God. Is that a viable position to have? Do you think or not?
My finger
It's
slipped.
viable. There are people who believe in both, but you should really have reasons for what you believe. If you want to be thinking properly, you should be able to articulate your reasons why you believe something. But
Indeed.
You do you.
Indeed. Well, friends, we are looking for some opposition. We've got lots of people loaded up here to watch. We've got like 300 people watching on the Vertical. We've got 400 on John's page. We've got like 1,200 watching on my page. We got lots of people watching. What we need is some opposition. We need some believers to come up and defend the God concept that they believe in, or pick something off of the board. Perhaps you cannot choose what you believe, or God is a sadist. It'd be a lot of fun. But until we get some of that, we're gonna read some super chats, and also our fundraiser for Spencer is still ongoing. Link is in the description of the video and also in the comments. And we're gonna be going for a couple hours here. We're trying to hit our goal for our friend Alex Slayer. Said nope. The second his roleplay character can supposedly fly, and he is tasked with going outside and jumping off the roof, he'll decline. Immersive play acting is fun, but not true belief. True, actually. Yeah. I understand the illustration they were trying to make. It's just that if they truly believed that like they were that person, then we would see a lot of things manifesting. It'd be really weird.
Yeah. The one that I run with them, when people say that they can choose their beliefs, I say, okay, well, just choose to believe that the building you're in is going to fall down in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then if they claim that they really can believe it, it's obviously not true because they're still there. If you really believe that, you're out. So that one never fails to illustrate what's really going on.
I like to ask people to believe that they're currently on fire, and that usually
too. Yeah, that's good too.
Jeremy Busby says, a much awaited collaboration since I've started following both of you. Happy to listen in. Have a fantastic night. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for supporting. And we actually did a call or a show together a couple weeks ago. You should check out if you like the combination. And Kenneth, thank you for the super chat. There is a World Cup playing. Theists are over there. True, actually. True. Although in America, do we really care that much about the World Cup? I don't know. I think we're hosting it, but like really, anyone watching that shit? Turd Burglar, thank you for the super chat. It says retiring from a 20+ military career today, and I'm about to ascend. If you know what I'm saying, hell yeah. Last time I ascended, I ended up in the recruiter's office. So it's full circle ascension. Well, congratulations. I hope your retirement goes well and that your second career / education is a blast. I actually, when I was in seminary, I got to go to school with some guy who had just retired from the Navy, and he was young. He was like 39, 40 years old, and he's already retired. Like, fuck, let's do it. That was a great idea. All right, we get a one theist on our YouTube queue, so we'll bring in what appears to probably be a theist. Welcome in, theist. Theist, can you hear us?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
doing
I
well,
can.
thank
What's
you.
up?
Awesome. Theist, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the points on the board?
I would disagree.
Sure. Which ones?
I would disagree with the first. I think God definitely exists.
Sure. What would be a good argument or piece of evidence that would lead one to believe that God does exist?
I think the universe is just too finely tuned. It's just too finely tuned, and it's just too. There's no way it could just be chance.
Finely tuned for what?
Just the way it's expanding at a perfect rate, and the
What do you mean
speed
by
of light
perfect
is
rate?
less than that. Yeah, so that's why when we look in the sky, it's not all white. We don't just see stars everywhere where it's going to be all white. It's just everything's just perfect. So you look up and the stars are just twinkling, and it's not just all white because you can see forever and all the stars in the backdrop. That's one point.
Well, I don't think that adequately explained what you're saying. So you're saying everything is perfect. I don't know what you mean by perfect. And I also
It's perfect. I mean,
the fine tuning argument is usually a failure right out of the gate because fine tuning assumes two different things. The first thing is that there was a goal. Like the universe had the goal of creating life, and golly gee, look, we've got life. How rare is that? But if the universe has no goal, the fact that life exists is irrelevant. It's just a byproduct of the universe existing.
Yeah, I think it's just too perfect. And the laws of gravity, how the moon just rotates, it's like dancing around the earth while the earth dances around the sun. It's just too beautiful and just perfect.
This
It's
is the
like
same
someone
troll
made
from
this.
last time that just called in a couple minutes ago.
It sounds like the same argument again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my argument. I look at it, I can't just say, oh, this is just here for nothing. Like, it's too perfectly done.
It's
God
not
did the
perfectly
right
done.
way to make God made it the right laws to make it like perfect. The universe expanding faster
Sure.
than light. Now the stars aren't just all white at night. It's like perfect.
Yeah, he did it so perfectly,
Majestic,
but
artistic.
he forgot to like prevent babies from getting bone cancer, and he made it so like 97% of the water on the planet is poison to drink. That you think that was like
Oh, Justin, I can explain that
carefully
easily.
done?
No, of course, because that's because it's a fallen world. That's
It
why.
doesn't.
That's
It
why
doesn't
there's
fix it.
suffering and horribleness.
See, now
That's why there's suffering and horribleness.
you've just told me that
And
there's
it's
no
not
fine
perfect.
tuning. Yeah.
No, the way the moon, how the Earth rotates, that's all perfect. But
Semi-fallen.
On Earth itself, there's suffering because of sin. That's because of the fallenness.
Yeah. When did this suffering and sin start?
6,000 years ago.
How do we account for the fact that we have dinosaur fossils with bone cancer dating to about 100 million years before that?
I would have to say the tests are off.
The tests are off?
Yeah, the carbon dating, something's off. I'm not an expert on that, but that's what I'd have to say.
They don't date dinosaur fossils with carbon dating.
Yeah, I heard like when there was like a natural catastrophe, it looked like it was millions of years ago, but like it was actually like 10 years ago. Like I saw videos.
Oh, if you saw videos, it must be true.
Yeah, exactly. I can't explain it, but I saw like it's sometimes there's some errors and.
This guy's not serious.
Yeah,
I know. I'm serious. That's how I have to say it as a Christian. That's what we have to say. What am I supposed to say?
have to say it.
You don't. You're not a Christian. You're a faker. Okay, I guess we'll try the next caller in queue, and maybe eventually we'll get a serious person. Welcome in Joe the Third.
Hello, Justin.
How you doing, Joe?
Can you touch my dick, bro? Like, can you suck it for me, bro? Like my.
Wow, the trolls are really hurting for attention
Really
tonight,
are.
aren't they?
They really are, yeah. And all the believers obviously are taking the night off. I would say to anyone listening who is a believer, I'm going to borrow my good friend Sean's line. You know, if you really want to signal that you're a little bit insecure in your faith and don't want to defend it, then demonstrate that by not calling in.
Yeah, we got plenty of time too left in the stream. Let me grab some super chats, and then if we don't have anybody after super chats, I'm going to start auctioning off some mugs for our friend Spencer. Jeremy says, different between listen here or John's YouTube, want to support. It doesn't matter where you're listening at, by the way. You can listen on either stream. In fact, go check out John's stream if you haven't. If you're watching my stream right now and you haven't checked out John's channel, go do it right now. Now's the perfect time to do it, man. And Kif says, my two favorite deconstructors together at last. Huge W's to you both for the good that you do. Life-changing for many, including myself. Many, many thanks. Well, Kif, thank you.
Thanks, Kif.
All right, let me see. I had one in here. Mick! Good to see you. Mick says, forget the trees, look at the moon. That's a new one. Great work, guys. Love seeing this duo. Greetings from Serbia. Well, big W all the way to Serbia. Hope you're doing well, Mick. And we've actually got quite a few super chats more. I'm gonna pause on the super chats because what we really need is some opposition here. We don't, but also I want to get the fundraising numbers up. We got to pump those numbers up. Now we're almost at 1,500. We're at 1,470. I said earlier in the stream I'm going to be auctioning off some of my famous coffee mugs, and I'll be signing them and mailing them to the highest bidder. So I'll do one, maybe two of them right now. I'll continue to do them throughout the stream. There is a square mug, square-ish. It's a squircle that says, "I wish you were fluent in shutting the fuck up," which is a fantastic mug. I apologize, my camera is actually reversed right now. It's an amazing mug, and I will, on my own dime, ship it to the highest bidder, and we're just going to bid right now in the comments. Please start the bidding at $5. Anyone, $5 for this amazing. I think this is a 14-ounce mug. Let me see. It doesn't say what size. I'm pretty sure it's a 14-ounce mug, though. Nevertheless, it says, "I wish you were fluent in shutting the fuck up." It's a great mug. It's dishwasher safe, and it's got a robust handle, friends. Sandra Kirkpatrick, good to see your friend with a 10 spot coming up from the comments. Huge W. So right now, Sandra has got the lead for the first cup. Sandra. Let me actually, before I forget, I'm going to actually write that down. Let's see. All right. Sandra, and then I'm going to write 10 bone. Anyways, 50. Liz K up to 50. Cynthia up to 100. Now we're talking. We got 100 over here from Cynthia. But now we are moving. Awesome. Cynthia, I think, is going to walk away with a especially signed mug. Fantastic. Super excited for that. Anyone else? Anyone want to bid up? We'll give it the count of 125 from Sonder Seeker 4. Holy shit. Okay. Sonder Seeker 4, 125. I think we got a bidding war for the first mug already. Holy smokes. Kimsey says $500. Kimsey, are you for real? Kimsey, if that's true, I need you to do it. I need you to let me know in the chat again. That's actually pretty high. But let me know right now. It's either Kimsey or Sonder Seeker. Sonder Seeker's at 125. Oh, Cut by Occam is at 150. All right. Okay. Cut by Occam, we're now at 150. Unless that other $500 bid was legit. That seemed like a kind of a crazy bid. I'm more than happy to mail it to somebody for the price. Kim's went up to 750. That can't be real, right? That can't be real.
I mean, you would need to signal that that's really an authentic bid, because that's next level, isn't it?
Yeah, that's gigantic. That sounds like a troll number, just to be quite honest. If it's not, fan fucking tastic. Also, Necro, to answer your question, I have drank out of all of these mugs, and you've seen them on screen. You will see every one of these.
I've got a 222 in mine.
Oh shit!
From Bethos.
Bethos. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Bethos with a 222. Fantastic. Don't put it in the super chat. I saw Kif. Kif just said that. Kif, don't put this in the super chat. Whoever bids the highest for the mug, put it down on the fundraiser link for Spencer. The GoFundMe page is linked in the streams. Just put the money down on that, and then contact me. Let me know that you're I need your name and your mailing address to send it to. Tell me what mug you bid on and what your username was, and we'll work through it. But Cynthia's up to 230. Cynthia's not playing. Okay, Cynthia, man. We're gonna have a mug brawl here tonight. I didn't think the first one. This is the one I thought people are gonna like the most. We're gonna save this one for last. But Cynthia
Awesome.
now making it happen at 2:30. We'll give them about 10 more seconds to see if we have any higher bidders, and then we'll close out and move on to the next conversation. So we'll say 10, 9, 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I don't. There we go. Cynthia, good to have you here. You've got. I wish you were fluent in shutting the fuck up. For 2:30,
Awesome.
going straight to Spencer for the fundraiser. Thank you so much. I will box this up. I actually already have mug boxes. I will box this up when you email me your address, and I will ship it to you at no cost. I will pay the shipping. Not a problem. Not a problem on all the mugs. I'm paying the shipping. None of you have to pay for the shipping. So I'll be taking care of that for y'all. Nevertheless, we have a guest in the guest queue. Big W to Cynthia, and we're going to get SJ from the queue, and hopefully it's a real person. How you doing, SJ?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I guess the question I want to ask is, when you say pick your hill to die on, are these positive, so saying that like I should argue that God does not exist, or is it negative in that I should argue that God does exist?
These are the claims we're making. So if you
cool.
agree with us, you're in the wrong place.
Brilliant. Well, I disagree with you on. I agree with you on some of these. I disagree with you on the basis that you cannot choose what you believe.
Okay.
This is a popular one
You think-
tonight.
It does seem to be, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, do you understand why we might say this just before we sort of start getting into the details? Is it obvious why this is on the list or not?
Well, I think that it's on the list on the basis of maybe you're arguing from if you've been brought up in an environment that has preconditioned you to believe certain things, you don't have the ability to choose whether or not you believe the thing that you've been brought up in, maybe.
It's part of that, but it's actually much deeper than that. So do you have a God belief yourself?
I would say I'm considerably agnostic, but I would lean towards the belief that there is something that we could call a God, more of a philosophical kind. But when it comes to like actual belief, I'm generally agnostic.
All right. Well, the reason why this is on the list is that this is a pushback against belief-based salvation doctrines, right? So Christianity tells people and Islam tells people that if they don't believe the right things at the point they die, there's a punishment in store for them. And the reason why this point is on the list is not just because it's an interesting philosophical thing to chat about, it's because it has direct ramifications for that idea, right? That you can be held morally accountable for what you find convincing. And if you're not a person who holds to that view, then it becomes just a sort of interesting intellectual exercise. And we've done that twice tonight already. So we maybe won't do it again for a third time, because there won't be an appetite in the audience to hear us have the same conversation for the third time.
I see what you mean. I think that it's interesting, and maybe this shows that you maybe need to rephrase it somewhat. But I do think to say that you argue that some people cannot choose what they believe with regards to other people, and you say that the ramifications of this with regards to Christians or Muslims, etc., and trying to pick that apart on the fact that they can't believe this. I would quite adamantly defend the basis that they can choose what they believe, even from their religious standpoint. And I defend that on their religious basis, from the philosophical standpoint that they like hold by, because I do think that it's a very interesting. Not only it's not from even like a philosophical exercise, it's the fact that it's a truth statement, and I think if it's true that you can choose what you believe, it shouldn't matter whether or not I'm a Christian or a Muslim or what religious denomination I am.
That's fair. I understand what you're saying, But I was in a conversation with a Christian believer a few years ago, and he enjoined me to just accept Jesus, just make a decision to accept this thing and believe it. And in a moment of reflection, I realized that I wasn't able to. I am not capable of doing it. If my life depended on it, I couldn't do it. If my child's life depended on me believing that, I couldn't do it. So it's just demonstrably false that you can decide to believe something if you don't find it convincing. Something has to convince you first, otherwise a belief can't form. And that's why it's immoral to moralize it in that way.
I don't believe that's the case. Because I think it's quite clear that you have to understand where choice comes from in the first place. So are you a physicalist, or are you a what would your idea of free will be technically?
It doesn't actually matter. This would be true whether you don't believe free will exists at all, or if you completely believe that libertarian free will does exist. This would still be the case, that you need to be persuaded that something's true in order for you to believe it. That's literally what it means. A belief is the condition of being persuaded that something's true. And if you are not persuaded, you're not believing. And if you are persuaded, you have no choice but to believe. That's not a choice either. So this is really just a statement of the obvious.
That's not entirely correct, because what you're arguing from is a false understanding of what some areas of libertarian free will is. So, for example, Peter presents the idea of criterial causation, which is the idea that the action of choosing and the action of how we have libertarian free will is the idea that our brain and neuronic structures within our brain set the criterion through which decisions end up getting made in a sort of individual and mechanistic sense. So our brains have the ability to make decisions on that basis, but only because they're able to set the B criteria. So if we have A billiard ball hitting B billiard ball sets the criteria through which when a billiard ball hits it, it then moves. If you understand this idea of what libertarian free will is, the choice comes from the fact that we have the ability to set the criteria through which we actually then engage in our actions. Insofar as I can set the criterions of what I believe and what the threshold to which I would believe in something, I'm able to choose whether or not I do believe it, because I'm able to set the criteria as to which I will believe something in the future.
I would push back on that. You're able to just set the criteria. As Justin just said now, if you decide now to set the criteria so that you're legitimately convinced that you're currently on fire, you're going to immediately find that you're unable to do that. And that's because when you try to set that criteria, reality asserts itself and you experience cognitive dissonance, because your moment-to-moment experience of the world can't be integrated with the criteria you've set yourself for deciding to believe something. And that friction leaves you unable to choose it and unable to set the criteria in that way, and therefore unable to be legitimately convinced of it. You can claim it, you can act as if it's true, you can role play it, but you cannot make yourself legitimately convinced of it by just setting the criteria differently.
That's a false analogy of what I'm saying. That's a straw man of my argument. Because if you were to say that I could set the criteria that I'm on fire now, that's not it. I set the criteria of what would qualify as me being on fire. So I can set the criteria of what would then be me being on fire, which would be if I was to experience certain heat and see that my flesh is burning, I would understand that I'm on fire and I would believe that I'm on fire. But I have set the criteria in my head of what that belief would be.
Well, choose to set it differently then. Choose to set it differently. Choose to set your criteria differently to that you can just consider it and then believe it. You're making a preposterous claim that you can just alter the criteria of what you will, what's going to constitute you finding something convincing. It's just not how it works.
Yes, so in self-referencing systems, if we understand sort of Gödel's incompleteness theorem, which is the idea that... Okay. What?
We're just talking about human psychology here. We're talking about people's day-to-day experience. We don't need to talk about Gödel's incompleteness theorem. This is just a reflection on what it's like to be a human and what it's like, the everyday lived experience of people who are told by religious systems that they're bad and they're moral failures for failing to believe the right thing. And this is just a pushback against that, showing that it's actually morally incoherent. We don't need to get into Gödel's incompleteness theory. I'm not sure that this is going to be a productive discussion. And I'm fairly confident this is not the discussion that the audience are here to hear.
Okay.
Here
Well,
to hear.
I appreciate it, John and Justin, then for listening. I do think it's worth reading into sort of neurophilosophy of free will and also this idea of criterial causation in order to understand this, because I do think that it would be quite powerful if you were to have someone who is Christian or Muslim come onto this conversation. I myself wouldn't be able to steal. Well, I would in some way be able to steal man their arguments, but I wouldn't be able to steal man it in a way as a true believer. I believe in freedom of religion, absolutely, and I think that a lot of people misunderstand when it comes to like interacting and interlocuting with Christians and Muslims, and I think they have a lot more to say and a lot more to believe on this basis. And so to that extent, I will die on the fact that I think you can choose what you believe under that understanding of choice. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for coming up.
Cheers. Well, better than you than me. I didn't want to engage in that boring snooze fest.
Yeah, I the moment it started going, I was like, okay, this is a cul-de-sac to reverse out of.
Yeah. All right. Hey, friends. Just an update. We are now more than halfway to our fundraising goal. We're at $2,580.
Awesome.
And Carissa Whelan with a $1,000 donation. Huge fucking W.
No way.
No, we need 1,000 W's for Carissa. 1,000 of them.
That's incredible. That is incredible. This is really going to help Spencer out. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. As I said earlier, as we're doing these mug auctions as well, make sure that you don't send me any money. Just send it to the GoFundMe page, and I'll make sure that I see the donation up there, so we can keep track of everything. But huge W. I'm gonna grab Mandar from our guest queue here, and hopefully we'll have another conversation that's worthwhile. How you doing, Mandar?
Hey, Justin. I'm doing great, and you?
Doing well, thanks for asking. Are you at least 18?
Oh, yeah. I'm 19.
Sure. And do you agree or disagree with the points on the board?
I disagree with your points.
Sure. Which one do you want to start with?
That God is a sadist.
Oh, interesting. Sure.
Completely disagree.
Well, I think this is something that John talks about quite a bit. It's one of my favorite topics too. I'd love to hear John's argument and see what your rebuttal is.
Okay.
I mean, an all-powerful being, if you believe God is all-powerful, would you agree that God can organize reality in absolutely any way he wants?
I think God can suck my dick. He can suck Justin's dick. He can suck my dick.
There you go. It was too good to be true, right?
Yeah, an actual, somebody engaged. It's amazing too that people get this way that believe in a God that like gives them objective morals and things like that. It's weird.
Right. Yeah. Very strange.
Oh, we'll just move on to the next one, which looks like belief. Welcome in, belief.
Hey,
18.
Yeah. Can
All
I
right,
just ask
and
theories like about your opinions on a deity, like how he would be, like pantheism versus like
well,
what if I'm just curious.
this is
it's a fun
a
conversation.
debate live stream, so we're looking
Yes,
for
sir.
believers who disagree with us on the points on the board.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
What if
And
okay,
do you agree with all of them or disagree?
disagree.
Okay.
I'm a
Which ones
theist.
do you disagree with?
All of them.
Okay.
First one.
Well, which one you want to touch first?
Can I just ask? First one. I think the first one, or sadist, or but what if God was like a void, like an invisible, a void, formless? What do you think of that theory?
Then
Just
it
curious.
wouldn't be a god.
Why not? He's just a void who's conscious. Like he
The
can do it. He can make things pop in and out of exist in the void. Like you're in
voids
the void, but he can just—he's a mind.
voids are
That's
not
interesting, right?
conscious.
You don't. Why not? Why couldn't God be an
That's the
empty
definition
space
of a
that's
void.
like a void, like empty black space that you can just float in, but he can make anything disappear and appear, like a chair appear and disappear at
This
will.
person's not serious. Hey, welcome in everybody from the Ian raid. Big W, glad to have you here. We're trying to get a guest. We've been what's the word? Restricted. I've been restricted on TikTok so many times that I can't get a TikTok guest today. I had a bunch of them yesterday until my live stream got restricted about 10 times. We do have one possible guest in the YouTube queue. If you want to get into the debate, now is a good time to do it. I realize that in some like time zones, you're just now getting out of work, but we're running till 8 o'clock Eastern time here. And so you want to get in early. How you doing? Is it Sugu?
Yeah, it's Sugu.
Sugu, are you at least 18? And do you agree or disagree with the points on the board?
I think you should suck my dick, bro.
Oh, another one. There you go. There you go.
They have nothing better to do with their time. It's pretty wild, actually.
It's wild, isn't it? I know, right?
Can you imagine wasting your time like doing that kind of nonsense? That tells me his time is not valuable at all.
It does tell you that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well,
yeah,
what are you
that'll
gonna
be
do?
the highlight of his week.
True, actually. Yeah. Well, I mean, he called on to a large show and somebody heard his voice and now he's famous for making a fool of himself.
Yeah, for at least 5 seconds. Amazing.
All right. I'm sure we'll have more. Nevertheless, friends, we're going to go ahead and auction off another mug. I've got a couple of them that we're still going to get rid of before the end of the stream. We are currently, by the way, at 2,600. We're still climbing. So thank you so much for that. Next mug is another fan favorite. Fuck the patriarchy. Remember, all of these mugs will be shipped on my dime. I will sign every one of them. And the people who have already asked yes, all of these mugs have been used by me on the stream. That's why you guys know about them. But this is a classic fan favorite. It's like 16 ounces. It's a Hossie mug. It's a big one. It says fuck the patriarchy. It's fantastic. So we'll do what we did last time, and we'll start the bids here at $10. I think I probably paid $15 for this, but we'll start the bids at $10. Let's have it famous like Amos with $100 already. So I'm going to mark down famous like Amos. We're just right off the rip. Right off the rip. Hold on. There we go. Famous. Let's see. Anyone else? I see 20. I see 50. I see 3,000 euros or pounds. That can't be right. I see Mark, who is a troll with 120 pounds. We're not going to do that. Anyone else? Anyone else? We're at 100 right now. We're at 100 for our friend, or from our friend, famous like Amos, the squirrel. Again, it's a beautiful colored mug, and I actually get a lot of comments on this particular mug. Minutemen loves when I use this mug. They're the one who always comes by and ends the super chat with "fuck the patriarchy." Mark says he's bidding now at 2 billion. So it is.
Look, if you're watching this and thinking of trolling an auction to help someone who's in financial difficulty, take this as a moment to self-reflect. Really.
Yeah.
If you disagree with all our opinions, that's fine. If you don't think that we should have a voice, that's fine. But really, to interfere with an auction to raise money for someone who's struggling and needs help from a community, don't do that.
It's pretty wild, actually. That like there are people who behave like that in the wild. Like you might expect that from children, but from like grown people, that's not something you would expect to happen. But it looks like so far our highest bidder is famous like Amos. We'll do a 10 countdown to see if we get anybody else. Well, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, and the winner is Famous like Amos. For 100 bones, you've got the Fuck the Patriarchy mug. Congrats. I hope you enjoy it. It's actually really big
Good
too, by
work.
the way. I used to use this for hot chocolate with giant marshmallows. So, oh, Bethos, I'm coming with 110. I'm sorry, Bethos, you're late. Sorry, I apologize, Bethos. We just closed it. My deepest apologies. Now we got more bids coming in, but nobody higher than Bethos. But it is going to go to Famous Like Amos. We're going to do another one. I've still got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I still got 5 left. So we
can do the book as well if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. John, for the people who weren't here first time you said it, tell them about the book deal.
Yeah, so my book is coming out in November, but we're going to do an auction for anyone who wants a signed copy with a personalized note. When I first get inventory, I'm not sure when the publishers will send it to me. I guess it will be October or very early November. I'm very happy to send one anywhere in the world to someone who wants to bid for one with a personalized note for you. That'll be a first copy of the first book. You may even receive it before they hit the shops. So that could be in there somewhere.
Hell yeah. Well, we've got a guest in our TikTok queue. We got 2 guests in the YouTube queue, which are both probably trolls. So we'll grab our TikTok guests. Zania, I believe is the name. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. How you doing, Zania?
How's it going?
It is going. You're sounding a little bit muffled. Is your hand covering the microphone?
No? Hold on. All right, go ahead. Can you hear me better? A little?
It's a little bit better, yeah. Zania, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the points that are on the board?
I disagree.
Okay. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's see. God does not exist. I disagree.
Sure. So
You cannot, I agree with you cannot choose what you believe in.
okay.
Let's see. Jesus was a fraud. That's like a sort of kind of. Because he did have a purpose. And then God is a sadist. Nope. Disagree. God is hiding. I think God did what he wanted to do and left humanity to figure it out. So, no, I wouldn't say that. Original sin is unjust.
Is that the one you
No,
want to go with, or?
I can go with either one you wanted to go on.
Well,
Whatever one.
you said you wanted to do the first one, so I'm more than happy to do the first one.
Okay, let's do that one then.
All right. So God does not exist. Is there a good argument or piece of evidence that would point towards God actually existing?
Yeah. I believe that humanity. I believe that he gave humanity a free will, sent us on a boat, and told us, "Hey, figure it out." That does not mean he doesn't exist. That just means that he put us on a path that we need to figure out.
But that can't be the evidence that God exists, because your argument assumes that God exists.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's not how proper arguments work.
I don't. I said when I first opened up, I said I don't believe in that.
I'm sorry, you do or don't believe in God?
I do believe he exists. I
right.
do believe.
But what I'm trying to get is like a reason why. Why do you believe that God exists?
Like, why does he exist? Because we're here.
Yeah, I agree that we're here. I don't see the connection with God yet. Well, how do you know that God was the cause of anything?
Because we exist.
How do you know that God was the cause of our existence?
The same reason why are we here? We have zero understanding for why we're here. There's no evidence. There's no meaning for us to be here.
There is no meaning. You're right, but that doesn't have anything to do with God. Why would we believe that God created any of this?
Because he's the one that came out and said that he made us.
But I'm sure like a book said that somewhere. I'm asking, why would anyone believe that?
It's not just the book said that. He gave us a law. In that law, he's telling you why he created us and what's the purpose for us.
Okay, where can
So
I find this law?
his law is in the Old Testament.
All right. So you're a Christian, I presume.
No.
I've never met a Hebrew that calls it the Old Testament.
It's not. It's just what everyone refers to it as, so it's easier.
Well, if
But
you're
his law is
Jewish,
his
it's
law.
the only testament. It's just called the Bible if you're Jewish.
No, because you got to take in everything. You have to take in like eternal everything. Like you can't just start cutting things off. You can't separate. Everything has to be perfect according to God. So we can't dismiss any part of life.
Do you
Everything has
think
to be.
that the New Testament's true?
Yes, but let me
Okay,
explain
so
why I
that
think.
means you're a Christian.
Wait, can I explain why I think the New Testament is true? I
You're
believe
more
the
than
New
happy
Testament is
to. Right now, we're trying to dial down what you actually believe.
right. I got you.
Obviously, you're a
Right.
Christian.
I believe the New Testament is true because it's testing everybody according to the Old Testament. So you couldn't have the New Testament without the Old Testament, as they call it. But the New Testament is there to test. Like it's like God's way of testing us.
Cool. So why would we believe that God wrote or inspired anything in the New or the Old Testament?
He didn't write anything. What he did was he gave people understanding
I
of
said
what's in
or
the Old Testament
inspire. Why would we believe that?
because he presented himself to us.
A-
So you don't
Again,
have to
I
believe it.
I
Wait,
don't believe that to
can
be
I
the
go ahead? I got you.
case.
I get what you're saying. No, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right. You don't have to believe it. It's not for everyone to believe. So
It's not
like
about
what
having to
he is saying,
believe. I'm asking you for the evidence of the belief.
the evidence is who he shows himself to. So
But
because you feel like
I don't think he
right
shows
you're under,
himself to anyone.
but that's your opinion. But he has showed himself to other people. Now that's like me saying,
Who?
hey, what's up? What's the difference between up and down? If somebody's
Who'd he
going
show
up,
himself to?
they're looking like the prophets of the Bible
Oh, and how do you know that?
because of what we have today.
What does what we have today have to do with whether or not God appeared to the ancient prophets?
What we have today is our understanding of God, who He is. As in, He gave characteristics of Himself. Okay, He showed the characteristics of Himself that we're supposed to look at. Okay, and then I'm going about my life, and hey, do I see these characteristics in life? Yes, I'm starting to see them. They're starting to be understandable to me. Just because they're not understandable to
This
you does not mean that they're not
this has literally
understandable to
nothing
everybody
to
else.
do with what we're talking about. I'm trying to get you to answer the question, how do you know that God spoke to these prophets? What we're doing today is not relevant.
But what you're asking me is this: hey, how do I know that Justin's mom tucked him in bed?
I didn't
Okay,
ask you that.
Justin, Justin told me that his mom tucked him in bed, so I cannot go against that. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all
you
I'm
nailed
saying.
it. If I told you a
I,
claim from the past
I
that
cannot
doesn't
go.
have any
If you claim
verifiable evidence, then you would be right to
but
say, I don't know. How do I
no,
know that that
I'm not.
happened?
But
Which
I'm
is
not.
what I'm doing.
But
I'm
I'm
saying,
not
listen, I
dismissing.
don't believe that God spoke to a prophet in the past. Certainly not in the Hebrew Bible, because a bunch of those predictions don't come true. They fail. So I'm
Like
inclined to
which one?
believe that God didn't speak to these
Like
people.
which which
Everything
one?
in the book of Ezekiel, the entire thing.
The book of Ezekiel is still playing out, but which one don't you believe happened?
All of them, the entire book. It says it was going to happen within that generation in chapter 12, and none of them happened.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah,
Chapter 12. What are you?
all of the prophecies in the book of Ezekiel, all of them, were supposed to come true within that generation.
Well,
Want me to read
Ezekiel is a
it?
prophet that speaks. No, that's okay. Ezekiel is a prophet that speaks to the latter days.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Nope.
He's actually speaking to he does with the Valley of Bones. God
No,
says,
he
I'm going to
don't.
raise this. God is
That's not the
speaking
last
to
days.
Ezekiel.
I'll read it
Yes,
for
it
you.
is.
The word of the Lord came to me, mortal, what is this proverb of yours that the land of Israel says, the days are prolonged and every vision comes to nothing? Tell them, therefore, Thus saith the Lord God, I will put an end to this proverb, and they shall use it no more as a proverb in Israel. But say to them, the days are near, and the fulfillment of every vision. For there shall no longer be any false vision or flattering divination within the house of Israel. But I, the Lord, will speak the word that I speak, and it will be fulfilled. It will no longer be delayed. But in your days, O rebellious house, I will speak the word and fulfill it, says the Lord God. And then he doubles down and says, the word of the Lord came to me, mortal. The house of Israel is saying the vision that he sees is for many years ahead. He prophesies for distant times. Therefore, say to them, thus saith the Lord God, none of my words will be delayed any longer, but the word that I speak will be fulfilled, says the Lord. So he says, my prophecies are not for many days in the future. They're for right now.
They are, but who is he talking to?
He was talking to all of the prophecies.
No, he's talking. Ezekiel gave a
All the
prophecy that,
prophecies of Israel.
but you have to understand how prophecies was put out.
I
You
do.
can't just. Everyone wasn't readily walking around with prophecies that, hey, we have the prophecy of this, we have this prophecy. Not
Oh, yeah.
everybody was walking around with this prophecy. You know
I
that.
know how the prophetic schools work. We have documentation.
That's what schools. Okay, wait. We need to go back. We need to take back to the Hebrews. You see, that's different.
I'm going to
You're
guess you
talking
don't know
about
anything
schools.
about the Hebrews.
No, because when the schools, you're talking about the schools when they, after the Hebrews was captured and stuff, that's when their text became ready for everybody. Everybody can pick them up. But before their text was
I
for
didn't say
everybody,
anything about the text.
the text that you just read,
Yes, the text that I
you get
read was
the text that you
gathered
just read was given to Ezekiel.
by somebody
Given
most
to
likely
Ezekiel.
after Ezekiel died, somebody who
Yeah,
followed Ezekiel. In
Nehemiah.
biblical studies,
Nehemiah.
these people are typically referred to as
Nehemiah.
schools. People who follow a prophet are part of that prophet's
That-
schools, and they are mentioned in the Bible.
Can I ask you a quick question? When Ezekiel received that prophecy, who was it given to?
Again, all these prophecies are for Israel, every one of them.
Right, for Israel. Okay, but the Most High was letting Israel know that, hey, you guys will go into captivity. So we have the last two prophets that the Most High prophesied to, Jeremiah and Ezekiel,
Well, I'm
and
talking
he
about
told them, hey,
Ezekiel. Do you
right, I'm
know
just
about the prophecies in Ezekiel that don't come true?
explain which one. That's why I asked you, which one would you like to go first?
All of them. Every prophecy in Ezekiel about
Because
Israel was
they were
supposed to
for the
come
latter.
true within that time period, including the coming of the Messiah in chapter 36 and 37. In chapter 37, the Messiah is supposed to show up, and it sure as hell isn't
But
Jesus.
Ezekiel is a prophet for Israel after captivity.
No, he didn't say anything. Well, after captivity, obviously, he's writing in captivity. That has
He's
nothing to
writing
do
in
with 600 years later. What we're talking about is whether or not
he's
these
writing.
prophecies are coming true within the lifetime of these people.
They wasn't supposed to.
Yeah,
He's
I
writing
just
about
read you the verse
captivity.
that says they're supposed to.
You read that. Okay, but the verse that you read was given to Ezekiel. But the time that it was given to Ezekiel, it was what was done with
Hey,
it.
hey, buddy, you gotta either get your kid away from the microphone
Oh, I'm
or
sorry.
something
Yeah,
because we can't
I'm in
hear
my
what you're saying.
Let's go play, buddy. Go play, buddy. Go over there. I'm sorry, I didn't even know. Sorry about that. Let me try to get my side about that. Sorry about that.
They don't like this hermeneutic.
No, they definitely don't. So in Ezekiel, God says twice that my prophecies through you to Israel will not be delayed. They are not for distant times. They are not for many days away. They're for right now. Why would I believe
They're
that they're
not.
for many days away?
Because in the book of Jeremiah, God told Jeremiah that the prophets of it that are in captivity are what?
So you're telling
What
me
did God
that
tell
what
Jeremiah?
God told
What did God tell
Ezekiel
Jeremiah?
is void because what you think Jeremiah said?
No, it's not void. It isn't void. It's just the
Well, tell me
Ezekiel was
which prophecies is
Ezekiel.
he referring to? Because he didn't say some prophecies.
No, he didn't. He said all the prophets. But all I'm trying to get you to understand is that Ezekiel's prophecy was for our time period. You're
Was
trying
not.
to say that they were for that. They, well, who got Ezekiel's prophecies if everybody was in captivity? if they were for that people at
Ezekiel
that
got the prophecy,
Ezekiel,
and
but
Ezekiel
Ezekiel
delivered the
was in
prophecies, and
captivity.
people within his school is typically the
Who did
ones
he
who would
deliver?
collect these
What
prophecies and
school?
assemble them into some kind of a book.
Justin, what school are you talking about? What
They're
school?
called prophetic schools.
No, but they wasn't existent at the time that Ezekiel in captivity. Those
Yeah,
schools did
they
not
did.
exist.
They did. I think
No,
you're misunderstanding what it means to be a school. A school isn't like a building where you go to every day
I'm not
and like
misunderstanding.
a
I'm not
teacher is going to teach you and you have to like do tests and homework. A school, like an ancient rabbinic school or an ancient prophetic school, is just where you get to study underneath of somebody to learn the trade, to learn what they're doing so that you can do it when they're gone. And most of the prophets, the big ones, most of the big prophets had their own schools.
Which big prophet had their own school? Name a prophet that had their school.
I
What
just
prophet
told
are you
you
talking about?
Isaiah, Ezekiel,
Isaiah didn't
Samuel.
have a school. Samuel didn't have a school. None of these
Yeah,
prophets had
yeah, I
schools.
did. It's literally mentioned in the book of Samuel, the prophetic schools.
Go to school, buddy. Go to the house, buddy. No, like the prophet, and not only that, is back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel was taken into captivity.
We're aware.
Babylon was not given. Babylon was not given. I mean, not Babylon. The Syrian Empire was not giving them any schools.
You mean the
They
Babylonian
put them.
Empire?
Yes, sorry. Thank you for
The
correcting.
Neo-Assyrian Empire was already defeated by Nebuchadnezzar at this point.
Right. Babylonian Empire was not giving them schools at that time.
Again, you don't understand what the word school means.
No, I'm not saying that school, but I know what you're saying. That he was gathered together with a group of people in a little hut
No, I didn't say
teaching.
that. Nope. I
Okay,
literally said the
so what do you
opposite
mean
of
by?
that.
So can you please explain to me what do you mean by school?
A school is a group of people, whether large or small, that are training underneath of somebody for a job or a task. Whether they have a building or not is irrelevant.
Can you give me any example, any person like that would came out of the school, or are you just saying that he had a like? Where are you getting the school from?
I just told you where I get it from. It's from the Bible and also from historical texts. So we know how the prophets functioned in ancient times,
In the
and
Bible.
the ones
You went to
in
Samuel. You went all
Israel
the way
quite
back to Samuel.
often had some type of
Mhm.
school. So, for
Hey,
example,
Justin.
Jeremiah had a member of his school named Baruch. Baruch is typically the one who people believe, after Jeremiah died, collected his writings and assembled some kind of text with his writings.
None of these people, there is a law and order here. So when God gives a law, like when God says something, you cannot go over that. So for instance, when Jeremiah was with God and God says, hey, when you guys go into captivity, there's not going to be any more prophets. Okay? In captivity, don't listen to any of the prophets.
Jeremiah was a captivity prophet.
Yeah, no. Okay, but
This guy
God
does
gave
not know how words work.
No, yes, I do. Let me explain what I mean. So God gave that prophecy to who? Jeremiah. So he tells Jeremiah, hey, now that you're in captivity, you're going into captivity, guess what? Any prophet that prophesizes in captivity is what? A false prophet. Because he gave Jeremiah that prophecy before, he didn't give that prophecy to anyone else but Jeremiah. From that point forward, that prophecy exists. That
Sure.
prophecy is
So
brought about.
Ezekiel is a false prophet.
No, Ezekiel is not a false prophet because
Oh,
Ezekiel was
well, then
before
it
that.
sounds like this argument's stupid then. The question that we're trying to answer right now is, when Ezekiel
Wait,
gave
no,
his prophecies, were they for the immediate future or were they for many days in the future? And the text says that they're not for many days in the future. They are, in fact, for the immediate future. It says, mortal, the house of Israel is saying, the vision that he sees is for many years ahead. He prophesies for distant times. Therefore, say to them, thus saith the Lord God, none of my words will be delayed any longer, but the word that I speak will be fulfilled, says the Lord. So he specifically says that my words, my prophecies, are not for distant times.
They're not. Wait, let me explain what I'm trying to say to you. So when Ezekiel spoke those words, yes, they were coming into fruition right there and then. But who Ezekiel was talking to at the time. So, for instance, when God tells you the valley of the bones and stuff, those prophecies are for those people that Ezekiel are going to rise up.
I agree. Yeah, chapter 37 is for the
He is
immediate
raising up.
future, as is the entire rest of the book.
No, not the entire. No, it's not. It's for those people that
It
got risen
says
up.
it
But when
says
did those people get
it
risen?
says
When are
here
those
that
people going to
his
be risen?
prophecies are going to be immediately fulfilled.
Immediate fulfilled where? In captivity?
In Israel, within that
Well, they
generation.
were
I
in
read it to you. It says, no longer,
captivity.
it will no longer be
That's
delayed, but in your days, O rebellious house, I will speak the word and fulfill it. In your days of the rebellious house of Israel, meaning the generation that is both in captivity and coming back from captivity.
right. But what you're talking, okay, again, Ezekiel's prophecies are prophesying to the people that are there at the time. There's people there that are surrounding Ezekiel at the time. We both can agree on that, right?
When he wrote this
Now,
down, we can't agree on that. We have no idea what was happening when he wrote this.
but what I'm talking about are the people that he rises up from the bones. Those people, the valley of dry bones. Those people right there.
Those are the Israelites, and it's a metaphor for the restoration of the people group, not individuals.
Yes, they are for the Israelites. You're right. You're 100% correct. They are for the Israelites. But he was talking to those Israelites that will rise up later on down the road.
He didn't say later on.
It's not that, but those people never rose up. He's telling them, hey, these people are going to rise up. The
Yeah,
valley of the dry
immediately.
bones, they didn't rise up immediately.
I know. That's why it's a failed prophecy. You finally found out. Good job.
Wait,
You did it.
no. We're 100%
Yay! You got there.
no. You're saying that they rose up right there and there, and I'm saying
No,
no,
I
they
didn't.
didn't rise up there.
I didn't say
Ezekiel,
that. You're not good at listening. I said the prophecy was that they were going to rise up in the immediate future, and then they did not
in
rise
the
up,
immediate
which
future,
is why they
they
failed
didn't rise up.
prophecy.
Right. But I'm trying to explain to you that prophecy is for us now. It's
Again,
because they would not.
substantiate
Where do
that
you
from the
get?
Bible. Stop saying it, because
But
I read you a verse from Ezekiel that says the opposite.
no, you talk about his prophecies.
I
It's like
read you two different
Ezekiel
verses
is
that say the
talking.
opposite of what you're saying. So if you're going to disagree with God in Ezekiel, I'm going to need you to find me another Bible verse that contradicts it.
You read the same Bible verse, and not only that, I brought up the valley of the bones to
The
show you
Valley of the
that those people
Bones
are the ones.
doesn't help your case. It proved my
Valley
case.
of the bones is rising up the people of Israel. They're going
It
to
proves
raise up
my
the
case,
people of
not yours.
Israel in the latter days.
Does it
You're
say
trying to say
latter
that
days?
no, you're trying to say that these people were risen up right there and
Does it
then, and that
say
time.
that this is going to be hundreds of years or the latter days? Or did you add that to the text?
Well, let's go finish reading the prophecy and to see what the prophecy actually says. That
Sure,
lets us know
yeah.
that it's for the last.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah.
says
Go
that those
ahead and
people.
show me where he says this is for distant times, because he told Ezekiel in chapter 12 that his prophecies are not for
I'm gonna
distant
show you.
times.
I am going to show you. It's called the attributes, and he's telling you what those people are going to do. And because we have not seen that happen yet, that's why what you're saying is this is a failed prophecy because
It
we have
is.
not seen it yet. Right.
It is a
I
failed
understand
prophecy because it didn't happen, and it was supposed to happen in a particular time frame.
What time frame? If we don't have that time frame.
Within that generation.
What? Why do you get that generation? They're in
Because that's what he
captivity already.
said. In your days, O rebellious house. That's the generation that was in Babylon.
Quick fast. Ezekiel was at the beginning of captivity, not at the end of the captivity. So
Ezekiel
we already
prophesied
know that they
from
were.
539-ish to like 571, or 593 to like 571. So it was like near the beginning of the captivity. Jeremiah wrote just before. He started at about 605. But Ezekiel prophesied for more than like 1 year. He's got about 20, maybe 25 years worth of prophecy within his book.
You're right.
And he says, within the generation of the rebellious house of Israel, God's prophecies are going to come true.
Okay. What is the rebellious house of Israel?
It's
What is
obviously
going
the
on with
house
the
of
rebellion?
Israel that rebelled, that God had to punish by
What is
using
going
the
on?
nation of
What's
Babylon to
going on
take
with
them into captivity.
what's going
These
on?
are very
But what's going?
kindergarten questions.
Yeah, they are. But what's going on with the rebellious house of Israel?
They're getting
They're in
punished.
captivity.
Yeah, they're
They're in
getting
captivity.
punished. They're going to be
He
coming
says,
back in
so now, wait, wait, wait,
539.
wait, wait. No. Wait. Now that we know that the
Yeah.
rebellious house of
They're
Israel
coming back in
is in
539.
punishment. Now that we know that they're in punishment, what's going to after their punishment? What is God saying is going to happen to them?
They're going to be completely restored, and the Messiah is going to come immediately after they come back within that generation.
Okay.
And it
So
also
now
says
we
that the
know that.
Messiah is going to reinstitute the laws of Moses, that the foreigners will have to be circumcised, that there will
So
never
is
be a lack
Ezekiel
of a king on the throne ever again.
is Ezekiel part of the rebellious house of Israel?
Oh, Ezekiel is part of that generation, the rebellious generation, but
Thank
to
you.
include
So
him as
that's
the
how we know
rebellious
that.
people would obviously be incorrect. Just like
So point
Jeremiah
proven.
says he was
Point
a
proven.
suffering righteous person, even though he was part of the generation of the Israelites that were rebellious.
Jeremiah's prophesies in the latter days. You guys have to understand this is the latter
I'm
days.
still waiting for a Bible verse that says what you're saying.
Okay, so Ezekiel, the rebellious house of Israel is
Just
in
waiting for a
Ezekiel's
verse.
time. I'm not trying to argue. 100%, I do not have my Bible in front of me right now. I'm sitting in the pool with my two sons right now. That's it. And I was like, oh, let me give this guy a shot. Okay. So I can speak about Ezekiel. If you want me to go to the direct verse, I cannot go. Hey, this is verse 12, verse 13. I cannot do that right now. But but if we're gonna have an open conversation, like we were going this whole time, all I'm saying is that Ezekiel, the rebellious house of Israel, is in Ezekiel's time, which lets us know that these prophecies that Ezekiel is talking about is not in his time, because he says,
Well,
he
you'd be
literally
wrong.
tells you. But how is Ezekiel, these prophecies happening in
I'm going to
Ezekiel's
read
time
it
when
for
the
the
prophet?
last time because you're obviously not listening. I'm not going to read this for a third time. The prophecy that comes to Ezekiel literally verbatim tells you that it's happening in that generation. It says the days are prolonged. This is the proverb that Israel is saying. The days are prolonged and every vision comes to nothing. Tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, I will put an end to this proverb. They shall use it no more as a proverb in Israel. That proverb is that these visions aren't coming true. But say to them, the days are near and the fulfillment of every vision. He said, those days are near, not far away. For there shall no longer be any false vision or flattering divination within the house of Israel. But I, the Lord, will speak the word that I speak, and it will be fulfilled. It will no longer be delayed. But in your days, O rebellious house, I will speak the word and fulfill it. That means the prophecies spoken by Yahweh are going to be fulfilled in those days of the Babylonian rebellious house.
That's right, but they went into captivity.
I'm
Right there.
aware.
But what you're
Yeah,
not,
he's riding in captivity. We covered this already.
yes, but those are the things that they got at that time. But the other half of the prophecy that talks about Israel's lifting and stuff was not supposed to happen in that time period.
Why?
What
Why
you're
would
trying to
anyone
say,
accept that?
because they were supposed to be in captivity for
But
how
my
long?
hermeneutic is I need it to be for the distant future because I can't be a Christian otherwise. There's nothing in the
I'm not.
text that says that. I just have to make it say that through my fifis, even though the text says that all of these visions are going to be coming true imminently within your days.
They did come true though.
They did not.
That's the problem. At Israel, hey, they were destroyed completely. So according to them,
they didn't come true. Want me to read you the part that absolutely didn't come
your
true?
generations down the road,
My
they will
servant
receive
David
these
shall be
things. You're
king
gonna be
over
like, okay,
them, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall follow my
now.
ordinances and be careful to observe my statutes. They shall live in the land that I gave to my servant Jacob, in which your ancestors lived. They and their children and their children's children shall live there forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Did the Prince David, this is the imagery for the Messiah, did that person show up and reign forever?
Oh,
No, you're right,
Not
because it's a failed
yes.
prophecy. Cool. All right. Go take care of your kids. It is insufferable.
Because Ezekiel, oh, bones so fast. Ezekiel,
Well, that's about enough for him, huh?
There's
Imagine being that dense.
only so many times you can say, this is what the text actually says. It's wild to me. That's the person who's organizing his life around what the text says, and you're trying to convince him to pay attention to what the text says. Wild.
That's all I want to do. I just want to read the text and make him hear the text. It's a wild situation. Friends,
Crazy.
Thank you for being here. I think we actually finally got one theist. We have another one in the queue, Matt Theorem. So we'll grab that guest here in just a moment. Famous Amos, thank you for the super chat. I donated my auction money to the GoFundMe. Thank you. I hope that was correct. That was correct. If you get one of the mugs that we're auctioning off, please send the money to the GoFundMe page. Can you share the instructions again for me to send you my mailing address? I have ADHD, but Justin's fucking rock. I'm still rock hard for Doug. Love Dispenser. Absolutely. Famous Amos, if you go to my YouTube page or to my link tree anywhere, I have an email address. It's justin@deconstructionzone.net. Just email me where you need the mug mailed to, and I will handle all the mailing and shipping and packaging and get it over to wherever you are. And we'll take care of it that way. Email is the best way to do it. After this live stream's over, like tomorrow and the next day, I'll be looking for emails so I can write down everybody's addresses and what they got and where everything needs to go. So also Cynthia, thank you. I saw Cynthia sent I guess Cynthia couldn't access the GoFundMe page. She sent me over Cash App the $230. So Cynthia, I got your $230 for the mug. You're good to go. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to donate that now so that shows on here. Give me 1 second. And then we'll be rocking and rolling. I love how they keep asking for a tip. No, we don't want to tip you, GoFundMe. We appreciate the service, but we're not doing that. All right, Give me 1 second. All right. Everything should be sending and bada bing, bada boom. Of course, two-factor authentication. I know. All right. Give me the code. All right. Let's see what the code is. Man, two-factor is helpful, but it sure does slow things down when you're trying to do things. All right, there we go. Now we should see the total update here in a couple seconds, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. All right, we are getting closer and closer. I'm going to refresh the page. We are now, friends, we're now over 75% of the way to our goal, it looks like. So awesome. We're going to hit this goal. I know we absolutely will. Huge W to the community. Ari Odwin says, thank you for stopping the audio torture. That was the anti-theist of ASMR. Also, good morning, all. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, that was tough. Even I turned down my earbuds because like this is rough. Sorry, I
can't decide what was worse, the hermeneutics or the children being dissatisfied in the background. Part of me was like, just go and deal with the kids. This would be the better move here.
Yeah, for sure. Nevertheless, friends, I'm gonna before we bring in Matt, I'm gonna auction off another mug. Misha, thank you for the super chat. For Doug's sake, Zania, go tend to your kid or put them on the phone. They couldn't make worse arguments. To be honest, yes, that's true. That child sounded under the age of 5, and I guarantee that child can make a better argument. All right, now next one. I'm gonna flip my camera too, so that you all can read the text in the right order. I'm gonna be looking away from John now. It's unfortunate. I'm not gonna. It's gonna look like I got my back turned to him on the screen, but
I won't take it personally.
But here we go. I'll do it on the other stream as well. There we go. Let's see. Flip horizontal. Boom. All right, we're good. All right, so this is one of my favorites, by the way. We'll start as usual, the bidding at $10. This is for all the cat lovers here. This is a prescription for happiness. When all else fails, stay positive. Issued by Dr. Feline Better. from the makers of Meowcinex. Refill for life or as needed. CAT scan and PET scan recommended.
Oh.
Registered by Pussy Medical General. It's a fantastic mug. How many puns can you put in one mug? There's like 8 of them in there. It's amazing. Can't we get first bid of $10 in here for the prescription for happiness? $10, anyone? I see any. I know we got cat lovers in here. Calm down, baby boy. Started it out at 40. W, calm down, baby boy. Let me get that. There we go. The 50 from Taylor. Okay, all right, okay. Taylor, the femshinist. Okay. Boom, I got it documented. 75 from Calm Down Baby Boy. Oh, damn. Calm Down Baby Boy, it wants the mug. Okay. Calm. Well, now we're rocking and rolling. We got 75 from Calm Down Baby Boy. Anyone over 75? Anyone? We had the first mug go for $230. The second one went for $100 to Famous Amos. First mug went to Cynthia. Next one, we don't know who's going to go to just yet, but we got first our largest bid of $75 right now for Calm Down Baby Boy. YouTube still bidding 75 here. Joins chat for PVG, I think is saying 75. 100 in the horizontal, Justin, at KA. Oh shit, we had 100 from KA. I don't know if I saw the 100 from KA, but I will absolutely write it down. KA, if you could comment real quick for me, make sure that we got that correct. KA at 100. Calm Down Baby Boy is not going to take this lying down for 120. Shit. Calm Down Baby Boy is not playing. We're having a bidding war here with Calm Down Baby Boy and the rest of the chat. Remember, all of the proceeds of these mugs go to help Spencer. I'm signing every one of them. Every one of them have been used by me on a live stream, which if you use ChatGPT, you can probably have it locate which live stream I used the cup on. I actually have my own LLM that I use for locating stuff on live streams. But it looks like so far the highest bid is 120 by Calm Down Baby Boy. We'll do a count. I'm going to count to 10, and then I'm going to do a secret count to 10 because the YouTube queue is 10 seconds behind the TikTok queue. And so I'm technically actually counting to 20, but after 10, bidding stops. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, bidding stops, but I will give YouTube, you have 10 seconds because you're delayed. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we got it. Calm down. Baby boy, it's yours. Huge W, Calm Down Baby Boy. And Math Theorem did come back. So let's get Math Theorem in here. As a reminder, if you want an auction for a mug, just send the amount to the GoFundMe page, and I'll verify there that it's you. Math Theorem, welcome back. We already went through the introductions. We know you're at least 18, but which topic did you want to address?
I wanted to talk about the first one. God
Sure.
does not exist.
Sure. Wait, is this sounds identical to the other Matt. This is Guitar Matt.
Yeah.
You don't know what's good for you, do you? All right, Guitar Matt. Also, Math Theorem. What's your new argument for God does actually exist?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a premise just so we can have a layout.
All right. I got my notepad open. In fact, I'll put it on the screen so everybody can follow along. And we've got, let's see, where's my notepad here? All right. Oh, I got to do one more thing, though. This guy's got to go back here. There we go.
Yeah, we don't care about that guy. Get him out of here.
What guy?
Spencer.
We do. That's like the point of this live stream. It's a fundraiser for
Oh, I'm
Spencer.
sorry. Yeah, we love you, Spencer. Sorry.
All right. P1.
If the universe began to exist, then the universe has a cause.
This is a clam.
Not in the form I've been giving it. It's different form. Then it has a cause. Then the universe has a cause. Yes. P2, the universe began to exist. P3, whatever begins to exist. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. P3.
You're just doing a weird version
just
of the
reversed.
clam.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Just
not.
listing the premises in another order.
So P3, whatever begins to exist has a cause. P4, the cause of the universe is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. The cause of the universe is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. Spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. All right, P5. A cause with those attributes is best explained by a personal agent.
That should be your conclusion.
Nope. That wouldn't follow modus ponens if that was my conclusion. Conclusion.
You're not following any inference rules here. A cause
Yeah, I
with
am.
those
I'll
attributes
show you how. I'll show you how.
are best
Let's get to the
explained
conclusion.
by what?
By a personal agent.
Okay.
And then conclusion, therefore, personal agent. Damn, you get like one word per minute, huh? Therefore, the universe has a cause, which is a personal, timeless, spaceless, immaterial being.
So we would just say, which is P4. Make it short.
Yeah, God exists. You could just put that there too if you want.
This is not going to go well for you.
So this is modus ponens. So
you've already tried running the kalam with me, and it went about as well as anyone here would expect it to go.
Well, back then, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't as well established on all these things as I was back then, but I've grown exponentially.
I'm sure you have.
Is this what well established looks like? This is a mess.
This is rough.
Yeah. Wait, what's wrong with it then?
Well, you're making.
Go ahead.
You're making.
Is it illogical?
You're asserting premises that you would need to demonstrate.
Does it not logically follow? Yeah, of
Well,
course,
it may
they're
not be
premises.
sound.
I'm not asserting these things. It's a premise. I'm going to justify them.
You're asserting these premises as if they've been demonstrated without having done the work of demonstration.
No, really? Obviously, I haven't justified any of them yet. But we have to decide whether or not
So then
he agrees.
you're then going to have to build further syllogisms. You're going to have to build further syllogisms.
Come on, Justin. You know this isn't how it works.
Come
on, you know we give premises and then we justify them afterwards.
That this argument is sound.
So Matt, do you think that this syllogism is valid?
It's modus ponens. It's also cumulative.
I said valid. Do you think that it's valid? Okay. So to be valid, that means that the conclusion must follow from the premises. Okay. So the premises don't even follow from each other, right? So you've got a duplication of P1 in P3.
A simple modus ponens. So wait, put modus ponens down on the notes just so I can show you how this is actually modus ponens really quick.
I think you sound like you've just learned the word.
If P then Q, P therefore Q. So
what do you
modus
think
ponens
P
has
is?
3 premises. The universe began to exist. Q is it has a cause.
You're
P,
trying to
therefore Q?
invoke the kalam, but you've done it wrong.
No, I haven't.
The original
It's
kalam
cumulative. I'm not using the original. This is cumulative.
would be
It's
modus
abductive.
ponens.
No, this is modus ponens. It's if then
Tell you
P
what.
Q.
I'll clean
conclusion
it.
is Q.
I'll just clean it up
The
for
conclusion
you.
is Q. The conclusion
It should
is Q.
look
You
like
understand it.
should look
No, it
like
doesn't have
this
to.
is
This is
redundant.
false.
You don't need that. You can start
If
with
P then Q.
P1, P2, P3, P4. So the
No, this
universe
is wrong.
began to exist.
This is wrong.
Fair enough. Whatever
No, you
begins
have to
to
put my
exist
other
has a
thing back.
cause. The cause of the universe is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. A cause with those attributes are best explained by a personal agent,
Why did you
which
take away
is
my premise? What the hell?
which is not necessary.
My premise back.
P4 is not necessary for your conclusion, which is
I need
why
my
I was
premise
saying
back. You just now took away my modus
you
ponens.
don't. It's
P1 was
redundant.
for modus ponens. It was if P
That's
then
not
Q.
how that works. The structure of the argument.
You just now destroyed
the
my
structure of the
bro.
argument must match modus ponens, not
It
the
does.
single premise.
You took away my if then. You took away my conditional. What the
Yeah,
hell?
that's not what's happening here. You don't do modus ponens in just one premise.
Nope. Whoa, what are you talking about? Nobody said it's one premise. It's three premises. No, it's two
I know,
premises and a conclusion.
and one of them was redundant.
It's not three premises.
This is really bad.
It's two premises with a conclusion. You messed up my
four
syllogism.
premises. It's four.
You butchered my syllogism.
You have four premises.
Yeah, modus ponens is three, correct? The conclusion is not a premise.
So you only need two premises for
No,
modus
you need
ponens.
two premises and a conclusion. Yeah.
Obviously, I said
had
two
an
premises.
if-then. You took away my if-then. You just messed up my whole
I didn't
argument,
take
bro.
away your if-then.
Yes, you did. Where is
If-then
it then?
needs
Where
to
did
be
it
built
go?
into the premises.
Where's my
That's where
if-then?
the if-then is.
The if-then?
Your first four premises, by the way,
Is
you
if
will not
P,
going to be
then
able
Q.
to
You took away my
demonstrate
P and
even
Q.
one of them. Matt,
took away
you're
my
not
P
going
and
to be
Q.
able to demonstrate. You're not going
Okay,
to be able
where's
to
my P and
demonstrate
Q at
either
then?
one
Where's the P and Q? Where's
of
P
your
and Q? 'Cause
premises.
it's not here. It's not here. Where's my P and Q at? Deconstruction zone. It's not
So
here.
you don't
made my
have one
premises
because
illogical.
you don't have one because you haven't worded it properly yet.
Because you took it off. You idiot.
You did it backwards. P2 should be P1.
No, I didn't. What?
P2 should be P1.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
That's
if the universe began, then the universe has a cause. That's if then statement. You took away my if then statement. You messed up my premises.
Everything that begins has a cause, and then the next line would be the universe began. Conclusion: the universe has a cause. Up my premises, if P is premise number one,
where's the if? Where's the P? Where's the P?
If
where's
it's
the
true, I just told you
P?
premise number one.
Okay, so the universe began to exist. That's P. Where's the Q?
If the universe began to exist, then it has a cause.
Wait, premise one's supposed to have if P then Q.
If the
P,
universe began to exist, then it has a cause. That's where the P and Q are.
But do you know how conditional works? So there's supposed to be in P1.
I'll just write it out.
If P, then
so
Q.
the original column is something like
it's just if P.
everything
That's just if P. There's
that
not if P, then
begins to exist has a cause. Premise number two is the universe
butchering my thing.
began to exist, and the
if everything that begins to exist
is
and has a cause.
The universe has a cause.
You're messing up all.
And the way that you would reword this to get the structure that you want is you would start with P1. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. If P1, so you would start.
I don't care.
If P1, oop, there we go.
My argument's also abductive. Like what?
No, it's not. Then the universe.
If it's the best, 3, 4, and 5 are influence the best explanation.
You didn't have an argument yet.